tonight's forecast. A freeze is coming.
I hate to disappoint you, but rubber lips are immune to your charms.
Gotta go! So many people to kill, so little time.
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age!
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Braden Herrington here with Davie Portman for upNXT, postwrestling.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everybody, chill.
Everybody chill.
Chill.
Yeah.
Chill. This is the one you've been waiting for.
This is maybe the most quotable film of all time.
Oh, it might be. I don't know. Ooh. At upNXT Podcast, Twitter, what's the most quotable movie? Is it this one?
I think this movie, recently especially, has had a bit of a resurgence. I think there's a certain popularity of bad films. We've already talked about The Room on this podcast, and this has definitely got that notoriety. But I do remember a few years ago when maybe people didn't joke about this film quite as much.
Yeah.
Having a day at work when someone went, do you remember all the Mr. Freeze quotes? Like how ridiculous they were.
Right.
And then we opened up like the IMDb quotes and just spent like an hour reading all these quotes, just dying laughing. Because
Arnie has 27.
27.
That's just him, though.
Yeah.
That means there's more throughout the movie.
That's not counting Poison Ivy,
That's
Batman,
not people saying
Robin.
it to him.
Oh, yeah.
That's just from his mouth, 27.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking crazy.
Oh,
it's pretty much the whole movie.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, welcome to upNXT. Yes, we watch NXT and talk about it every week, but we also cover AEW Dynamite, and we do all sorts of other podcasts, including movie reviews, deep into this feed, and patreon.com/upNXT. So many shows, but we've been reviewing Batman from the beginning.
Oh, yes.
We technically did the 60s one, because someone picked it for a Up Yours, so we watched that on the Patreon, but then we thought, we did all the Star Wars movies. We'll do Batman. We've been going through each one, giving our Bat ratings.
Yeah. The rule has been if it was in a cinema, like a proper release, we'll review it. So we've talked about one of the animated films, the Mask of Phantasm. We're going to be getting into the whole Nolan-verse soon, which I'm very excited about.
We're talking about Batman and Robin here, 1997. The next Batman movie we talk about
is Batman Begins.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're taking a drastic jump.
We're taking a leap.
Things are going to change from here on out because we did Batman Forever last time, and that was like so much fun to talk about because, again, what a ridiculous movie. And for some reason, they made a sequel to that one, and it's this one.
Yeah. I mean, I think Batman Forever did pretty well.
Batman Forever did great.
Batman Forever did well.
Technically, you could say this movie did great. It's the only issue.
It did great in the first week.
Yeah.
So, looking at this, it was the third best grossing opening weekend of 97. Other films included Face Off, Hercules, and Men in Black.
Yeah.
So, some big films out that year. But, so it had a great opening weekend, $42,872,605 US, dropped by 63% in the second week.
Because everyone went home and went,
word of mouth was like, I wouldn't bother.
I remember my dad took me, and it was like the Tuesday it had come out. But I was really young. I was probably 6 or something then. So I probably loved this.
I loved it.
Yeah, when I was 6. I watching this back, I have not watched this movie in so long. It's weird because something in my brain turned on where I was like, I know what's going to happen. I know the line that he's about to say. And I haven't watched this in like 15 years, probably more. But my brain is still like, the VHS tape was railed out through this one for some fucking reason. Obviously because of Uma Thurman, watching it back. And why don't I watch this movie more often? You saw this in theaters too?
I saw this in theaters, yeah. So I'd have been about 7, 8 when this came out, and I remember there being so much buzz at school about this movie. I think I mentioned before that I had the Two-Face coin from Batman Forever.
Right.
So I remember that kind of being circulated around on VHS and stuff. But so excited about this film. I got this film and Power Rangers the first film, which came out in 95, I think are very similar. Very similar kind of films and very similar hype as a kid.
Yeah.
Where now growing old, I'm like, oh, I feel bad for my parents taking me to these things.
Right.
Because there are some films you've taken your parents to and you're like, this is good. Like, you take... If you're a kid and you go see Infinity War or whatever with your parents, it's like, sure, yeah, this is the film for me. I know you're not really superhero fans, but you'll probably watch it and go, oh, that was good. I took my dad to see Dark Knight, and he's probably going in thinking, oh, I took him to see Batman and Robin.
Right.
And then he goes, oh, that was a really good film.
Yeah.
There's stuff I can enjoy from that.
My mom still holds Pokemon the movie to me.
Oh, yeah?
She goes, I paid to go to sleep. she took me and some friends to Pokemon and passed out, and then woke up, was like... Yeah, I don't want to take you to these movies.
I remember being a kid as well and being like, Mom, you're asleep. Yeah. I wake up and it's probably
You're missing.
Fuck.
You're missing Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's fighting Batman.
Yeah, this film was huge. I remember as a kid.
Well, we've talked about a few different Batman movies and already a few different Batmen. Like, we've talked about Michael Keaton. We even then talked about, Adam West too, but Val Kilmer.
Yes.
And they wanted him back for this movie, and he's like, nah. Like,
oh, was it his choice?
It sounded like it was his choice. He had other things going on, and he thought that one wasn't that great. This one can't be any better. So he kind of dropped out. And like the star of this movie, George Clooney, at the time, he wasn't like George Clooney like we know him. He was Mr. ER George Clooney. Funny enough, I work at CH. We're airing the first 3 seasons of ER right now. And I'm watching the first season of him, and I'm like, man, you go on to be fucking George Clooney. You go on to date Stacy Keibler, man.
It's pretty crazy. TV is such a different thing now.
Yeah.
TV will get film actors in for stuff, but there was such a separation between TV and film.
So weird.
Just quality, the amount of money going into it. So for a George Clooney to be cast as Batman was a pretty big deal. Sure, he was a massive heartthrob. Like, ER was huge. ER was massive.
Yeah.
But this is quite a leap, because you'd normally expect more of an established movie star already.
Especially Batman.
Yeah.
Like, Batman. I mean, Val Kilmer, though, like, he had some good stuff, but to me, Michael Keaton was, like, pretty established, I'd say. More so comedy, so that was a risk there, too. But... you know what? Maybe it's every Batman, because again, we're going to be going into the Nolan ones, which I am a very big fan of. And Christian Bale, maybe at the beginning, people were like, like that could be weird, but that could be good. I think every time someone's cast, we think like that.
Christian Bale maybe more so because of the movies he's chosen,
right?
Because he's a very serious actor, and he's done a lot of like Oscar-worthy performances. That it feels a bit like. If you were to tell me, oh, we've cast Daniel Day-Lewis as Doctor Strange, you'd be like, okay, that's like a serious actor you've got there.
Mahershala Ali as Blade sounds nuts to me. Like,
but now at this point, again, like TV, superhero films have evolved, so we're a bit more used to it.
Yeah.
But certainly, coming off of this film, and then it's a gap. It's like 8 years before Batman Begins comes out.
Yeah.
But a serious actor like Christian Bale... Yeah, I can imagine people go, oh, okay, but might give you a sense of, oh, they might be going in a different direction with this.
Yeah, and then when they have George Clooney, though, I mean, he wasn't popping off, and then now, fast forward, he's done so many famous things, so many great things. I do think he's a really good actor.
Great.
My mom was obsessed with ER, and no problem watching this movie back with me when I was a kid, because she loved George Clooney. But even as a kid, I would tell her to her face that George Clooney makes a bad Batman, but a damn good Bruce Wayne. And I still stand by it watching it. I think he's a good actor. I am a very big fan of Ocean's 11.
Okay.
Like, with him, Brad Pitt, and Matt Damon, I think it's fantastic. I love the old school stuff, Rat Pack stuff, but his Ocean's 11 is what I consider like almost a perfect movie.
Ocean's 11 is a great film.
Yeah, it's so fucking good, and the rewatch value on it is fantastic. But just looking through what George Clooney has done, like so many ones, I'm not like the biggest fan of him, but anytime I've been kind of forced to watch his movies, I'm like, you got me again, George.
He's The Descendants.
That's exactly the one.
Fantastic.
I know, that's the one. Someone's like, come on, watch this with me. I was like, I fucking don't want to watch George Clooney.
It's such a good film.
And I walked out being like, oh, that was really good. So, that's exactly the one.
I love that film. Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou is really good. He's done more Coen Brothers films, has he not?
I think so. I mean, he's doing some weird movies now, so, like, good for him.
But I like the movies he picks.
He
doesn't. Well, he's never really gone back to this genre before.
No.
And when I say this genre, I don't just mean comic book movies. I mean just action in general. I can't really think of much he's done.
Looking up trivia for this movie, because there is a lot of trivia for Batman and Robin here. George Clooney, to this day, if you meet him in public and you say to him, like, I saw Batman and Robin,
a ticket for that,
he will give you cash if he's got any on him.
Yeah.
He says that he'll hold that to him. He also states that he still has in his office that he does all his like prep for work and stuff like that. He's got posters of movies he's done. He has this poster still purposely in that office, so he reminds himself that don't ever fucking do a movie like this again.
Apparently, after filming, he was like, "Well, we just killed Batman. Like, this is gonna be the last Batman."
That's what I mean. Like, he's known as being cool, right? So he even knew that this was gonna be.
I think
shit.
Sometimes it takes something like this, though. I'm a massive fan of David Fincher. I love David Fincher movies. Alien 3. Not a great film, and a lot of people give it shit.
Yeah, I kind of don't like
David Fincher is like, he had his vision of how he wanted to make the film, and it's one of those cases we hear all the time where producers are getting involved and giving more opinions, and then they make a film they don't want to make, and then it bombs, and it's like, well, I didn't even want to make this. And that film made a point to Fincher. He was like, I'm never letting studios tell me what to do.
Right.
So if you hire me, I'm going to tell you exactly how I want to do it. You're hiring me for a reason to make a David Fincher film. And if you don't like it, don't hire me. But
think how many
once you've hired me, fuck off. Like, let me do what I do.
Yeah.
And he's made some of my favourite films since then.
Right.
And Clooney, the fact he hasn't gone back to this genre and has done films like The Descendants, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
You wish more people did that.
Yeah.
Is what I'm, like, that's, you think of the last Star Wars trilogy. You wish maybe if that was in a contract, or both ways, hey, we'll let you do whatever you want, but it's got to be for 3 movies, or vice versa. So it's, yeah, maybe you should be able to have control. I just finished Barry, and the last part of it is, like, they're actors in it, and she, like, refuses a role in this, and, like, they're like, you're refusing your paychecks, right? It's like, why are you... It's selling out, essentially. Because George Clooney could go and make a million more movies like this. They could suck, but he'd be making fucking fat stacks. Not as much as Arnold Schwarzenegger in this movie, who was first billed in the Batman
I did
movie.
notice that.
100... what is it? Sorry. No, not 100. 25 mil. 25 mil for only 6 weeks of acting. Maximum 12 hours a day on set. And he was allowed to smoke cigars while getting his iron.
I mean, it sucks
suit.
wearing that costume, that makeup. They're a lot better with that kind of stuff now, but imagine 12 hours on set, you say? Probably 5 hours in makeup,
exactly.
At least.
So like he was the big shot at the time. And going through kind of the time frame of Arnie, there's his whole scandal with him and his, I believe it was this house sitter, something like that. He has some sort of secret kid that came out years later. It was around this time that that kid was born. So around filming on this movie, he was like, A, he was going through health problems, and B, had found this terrible news that he had to keep secret from everyone.
Oh, damn.
And he still delivered such a masterpiece of a
great
movie.
Performance. I mean, it probably fueled him, to be honest.
It probably made him like, I need to be here. I need to like check out and smoke cigars on set and be Mr. Freeze. I have a love-hate relationship with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I think he's great. I think some of his movies are some of my favorite movies. But then I also know he's not good.
I mean, I would hope he's kind of aware.
He's
of that
definitely
as well.
aware.
He's made. I haven't seen them, but there've been a couple of films he's done since he's come back into acting.
Yeah,
I am kind of intrigued. There was one. What was it? There was one where his
he's one with
daughter is
Chan.
dying or something like that, and it's meant to be. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger does a serious film.
Taken.
And it's meant to be. No, I'm trying to remember the name.
Because he did one with Jackie Chan. I got
Maggie?
stoked for.
I think that might have been it.
Maggie. Maybe. I don't know.
A teenage girl in the Midwest becomes infected by an outbreak of a disease that slowly turns the infected into cannibalistic zombies. This is the one. During her transformation, her loving father stays by her side.
Oh my god.
So it's like a zombie movie, but it's more like this dad watching his daughter die. Like, it's a proper serious film, and it's meant to be like not bad.
Like a year ago, we did a review of Terminator, the OG Terminator, and we both were like, "Man, this was a star-making movie for him. It's a classic." T2 we haven't done that yet, but we'll get there one day. And then I'm not a big fan of what they they've done with like the Terminator stuff since that, but I like Arnie in these. I love Kindergarten Cop. I grew up on that movie. Jingle All the Way,
film.
like True Lies, like he's killed it.
I wonder these lines whether he wrote some of them, because it's...
he just said it.
When I took...
he just says it.
Improv here. When I was taking improv class, there's a game which is you've got to, like, be Arnie, essentially. And basically it's the every film Arnie's in, he has the quotes. The ice to freeze you or whatever.
Get to the chopper.
And you've got to come up with a punchline, like, as Arnie. Do it in his accent and come up with a cheesy... punchline, because it's in all his films.
All his movies.
What is your daddy and what does he do? Who is your daddy and what does he do?
Yeah. I used to have a soundboard.
I did.
Call my friends and click the Arnie
do a
soundboard.
prank call.
Yeah, those were the days, brother.
It'd be like,
it'd be
cookie?
Put the cookie down. It'd be like, hello, who are you?
Yes.
And they'd be like, who are you?
Oh, I did a bunch of them.
Yeah. Rest in peace soundboards. Are those still a thing?
I think I'm on IMDb right now, and apparently Arnold Schwarzenegger's star meter has gone up by 46 this week. So I think we can take some credit for that.
Yeah, because we're
all
talking
these people
so much
watching this film and clicking
it's
on
true.
Arnie.
Yeah, I love when our listeners, and shout out all you guys listening to us and supporting us here, when they're like, oh, I see you're going to review this movie, so I'm going to go watch it before you do it. And I think that's why I say we're like a weird book club. I think it's great. So I love the fact that some people this week chose time to watch this movie.
Gone back and watched this film. But yeah, as you said, Arnie is just like Jack Nicholson in Batman. Yeah. He tops the bill here.
Isn't that crazy?
Which is, it's nuts. I imagine paid more than Clooney as well.
Of course.
Would have thought.
Oh, by a long shot. 25 mil he got in 97. That's like how much now? It's probably like double now.
That's crazy.
That's insane. So, yeah, he didn't need to do anything after doing this movie, essentially. But, yeah. Wow, good for Arnie.
Good for Arnie.
Jack Nicholson got a hell lot more than Michael Keaton as well.
Are you aware, were there any other people like asked back for this one?
Yes. So I love like the trivia of these era of these movies. Uma Thurman, Schumacher just was like, hey, I thought you were hot, so I asked you to be Poison Ivy. And I personally, after watching this movie, I think she does the best job in this whole movie.
She said that she's actually quite not proud of this movie, but she has fond memories because this is kind of what got her into. This was her first big budget blockbuster film.
Yeah.
She'd done more kind of low budget independence, more art house stuff as well. And this was more of a blockbuster, so got her used to kind of working on a big production.
Well, we did Batman Returns a while back, and we talked about the iconic Michelle Pfeiffer, how that look, that Catwoman, that costume is still used today. It's like a sex icon, really. I'd say the same thing for this movie here. I've seen so many people dressed like Uma Thurman in this movie.
I gotta be honest, I'm not a massive fan of her in this.
Not in this?
I think the look is great. I think she's hot as hell. But I think she's playing Michelle Pfeiffer. She's
just playing what everyone is playing. Everyone in this movie is turned up to like a 25 for no reason. I think the problem isn't the actors. I think it's like what is given to them.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But no, I just found everything from even her.
They all suck.
Her regular character in this film.
Oh, it's terrible.
Compared to Poison Ivy, it's just she's just doing Selena Kyle from Batman Returns. It's exactly the same, just a different costume, different powers.
I think everything, like the dialogue or the lines, everything in this movie is they joke that it was just basically a commercial for toys, like essentially. Yeah. And the fucking thing is 2 and 4 minutes long, so it's like 2 hours, 4 minutes long, and it's like, wow, there's so much shit in this movie that's just wild.
Schumacher wanted to come back to do a third film. He kind of regretted letting the studio kind of push him so much to basically do this toy commercial. He wasn't happy with it either. What I got from watching this film, it's as if WWE writers and wrestlers are performing this. No one feels like a good actor. And you've got good actors in it.
That's what I mean.
But the way the dialogue is, it feels like I'm watching Raw. It feels like I'm getting Dana Brooke, who's just been given a promo to say backstage, and then you've got Batgirl on TV. Like, that's what it feels like. Just everything is so wrong about this. But there's that certain charm. Now we're kind of removed from it. I can imagine a lot of people being pissed off and angry when this came out.
Yeah.
But now you're removed. It's kind of like watching The Room. You go, how did you just fail? I'll be every level.
I'll be straight. Any of the Batman movies we've been doing, I love to smoke up before watching wrestling movies and all sorts. But you smoke a fat joint before watching Batman and Robin, you're in for a great fucking time because it's so colorful, just like Batman Forever. For some reason, everything glows in the dark. Everything's glow. Everything's lit up. This one's got CGI. Is this like one of the first movies to use actual proper CGI in this movie? Because they go.
Oh, I'm not sure.
They go ham with the CGI.
The whole set is CGI.
They go so heavy. I'm pretty sure it's like one of the first biggest movies to use it in 1997. Like the new advanced style of some
Titanic, I imagine.
Yeah, but like something along those lines of the first like big something used in this.
Because Returns is very practical. I'm thinking of like Penguin's Lair at the zoo and all that. It's all very practical sets.
I think all the actors in this movie, and I've again just doing some digging on interviews and stuff. The director Joel is like, hey, I know this movie gets shit on. It is my fault. Don't blame George Clooney, because him and George are always saying like sorry about this movie. They always apologize for it, and he's like, I take the blame because I let it happen. Like I could have said no. Like I could have said no. And he says, but don't blame the actors, because the actors all the actors were chosen because they're talented, and they were talented in the movie, but with what they were given was on me, and I'm sorry. So which I watched and I'm like, everything in this like looks so ridiculous. But you look at the cast and they're pretty good. Even Chris O'Donnell, for some reason, he's still Robin to me.
It shows how important writing is. I've tried writing before. I'm not good at it. I can't. It's a real talent to write how people actually speak. I feel I'm good with ideas. I can come up with ideas of stories for scripts. But if I've got to write how a human being talks, I can't do it. And I think that's what we find in wrestling a lot of the time. That's what I find in the Star Wars prequels. You look at them, and it's one of the reasons why I'm kind of intrigued Hayden Christensen coming back, because I'm like, actually, you know what? I think you deserve another go at seeing if you're actually good, because we know Natalie Portman's good. We know Ewan McGregor's good. They're not good in those films, but we know they're talented actors. And it's like exactly the same here. I don't know how anyone could do anything good with this material.
With any of this, really. What's crazy is, around this time, you mentioned that they were supposed to make they were already, before this was coming out, like, we'll pump out another one, because we know this makes so much money, like Batman Forever did. They were setting up to do this next one, and there's lines in this movie that, like, tease this, but this was the first, like, crossover event they were setting up for, because around this time, Tim Burton wasn't working on Batman, he was working on Superman.
Right.
With Nicolas Cage. So they were going to do a Batman Superman like crossover thing with Tim Burton now helping with fucking Nicolas Cage and George Clooney. That's how, in some other timeline, that's a movie.
Happened. Yeah.
Because I don't know if you've seen the picture of Nicolas Cage testing the suit. Yeah. It's famous. Oh my God. George Clooney, Nicolas. I think if you had Nicolas Cage as Superman, which, what the fuck? That's so stupid. Who would you want to be his Batman in a Batman versus Superman? I wouldn't want George.
John Travolta?
Yeah. Honestly, that's what I was thinking. Like, face off, but like, yeah.
Then have, I don't know, John Malkovich as the baddie.
As Luthor.
Yeah.
There you go. Saves the whole movie.
Who could be... I don't want to say Joker, because Joker's just so played out. But I'm trying to think people on that level.
Should be a Joker.
Maybe, who could... Jeff Goldblum be?
Oh, yeah.
Alfred. Jeff Goldblum from today.
Yeah.
As Alfred. With...
I don't know. This already sounds bad.
This sounds great.
I wish we got
Amy Poehler as Batgirl.
Fuck off.
I'm just thinking how ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm not watching this movie. I would watch
Amy Poehler.
I would watch Nicolas Cage in Superman 100%. I wish it happened. I think we've mentioned the Kevin Smith story of how he got involved, I think, and they were like, write this, and he's like, no, this is terrible.
Giant tarantula, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then ended up in Wild West.
Wild West, yeah.
That's what's worse, this movie or Wild Wild West?
I've not seen Wild West.
Wait, did you watch it as a kid?
It was, my cousins had it, so kind of watched bits on VHS, but Men in Black didn't really hit with me as a kid
Okay.
either.
Oh,
like I watched it and I was like, okay, but it didn't really connect with me the way this film did.
I'll go on to say, I've watched Men in Black recently because my work started airing all of them, and the first one for me, Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones, they should have just done a movie together that wasn't like so silly. Because I'm like, you're both so good. Will, you're so funny. You bounce off Tommy Lee, the serious but funny too. All the best parts in that movie is when they are interacting, and then it gets like super silly. But just like Tommy Lee Jones and Jim Carrey in the last movie we were talking about, the buffoonery. So I guess we should get into this.
Oh yeah,
this bad boy. Are you ready to talk about Batman and Robin?
Absolutely, Batman and Robin from 1997. I love the symbol they've got for this in the opening credits. You've got the bat symbol. With the Robin symbol on top.
This was a big deal.
I think it looked kind of cool.
Everyone had this logo was like the cool updated one. People had it on like shirts and all sorts of stuff.
With the red smoke in the background.
Oh yeah.
Thought it looked pretty cool. We start up with a kind of suiting up sequence where you get all these gratuitous shots of these boys in their tight rubber suits showing off their bums.
You get bat nips, bat butts, bat crotch.
Have you seen Wallace and Gromit?
Oh, yeah.
I always think, whenever I see these suiting up things, I always think of Wallace's bed tipping and him falling into the trousers and getting suited up. It's whenever I see a shot like this. But yeah, lots of close-ups on their tight rubber bums here.
Yeah, it's so strange. It's great.
The Batmobile is then revealed, and Robin, just continuing from the last film, just being a bit of a bit of a spoiled brat. Being like, oh, I want a car like that. Chicks dig a car.
That's the first line in this movie.
Yeah.
And you already knew the tone of this movie.
Chicks dig a car. And Alfred, being classic Alfred, is, oh, please make sure you bring it back in one piece. So Batman drives off, but then it's revealed that Robin has a motorbike.
Robin cycle.
What's it called? A Robin bike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks lit. Like, it matches his colors.
I don't know why he's complaining. Why does he want a car?
Yeah, he's boosting. He needs to, like, relax. He's got a lit bike.
Be fair, the cars are safer.
I think motorcycles are cool, and, you know, shout out anyone who rocks them, but I don't really fuck with that. I don't want to die.
It's kind of weird, because this whole film, it's Batman trying to protect Robin, and Robin's like, Dad, I'm not a kid anymore, is essentially what this film is. But Batman's like, no, it's for your own protection. You can't have a car.
You can have a bike.
You can ride a motorbike. That's fine.
Yeah, it's strange.
Strange. Batman gets a video message from Gordon saying that there's a new criminal on the scene, Mr. Freeze. This felt very 60s Adam West Batman.
This whole movie is that.
And I like that tone. For this.
Yeah.
And this did feel very much a callback to that. And Batman just goes, Mr. Freeze.
Mr. Freeze.
We are at the Gotham Museum of Art. Maybe you kind of mentioned it beforehand about the CGI. I gotta say, as much as we are going to shit on this film, I love how Gotham looks in this.
Yeah, I mean, the movie is visually fun to watch. Again, it's so colorful. Everything looks great. What is with this giant statue with the arms?
I don't know, but it's cool.
I want to go there.
It's like, if you haven't seen this film before or for a while, you've got this giant statue in Gotham, kind of like, I guess, like the Statue of Liberty, but it's like this guy with his arms stretched out, and you've got the monorail
like highways
through it.
Yeah.
And I think Gotham looks really cool.
It's very neo-noir, like Tokyo-esque. Like, they're going for that futuristic but old at the same time.
I think that's what's cool with Gotham, where you've got other superheroes that are set in actual cities. Like, we all know Spider-Man is in New York. That kind of thing. So I think you can have a bit of freedom with Gotham to make it like a big US metropolis, but you can kind of make it slightly otherworldly. And I think they do this pretty well. And again, like, the whole film is dark, gloomy. It's all set at nighttime pretty much, but the city looks cool with all this neon as well. Neon throughout the whole thing.
This one's very, like, more kid-friendly. Like, definitely the most kid-friendly out of all the movies we've watched, so, like, of these Batman ones. And it's like, it's taking that but mixing it so colorful. Everything's that color.
It feels to me like a theme park. It feels like a land. Like, you know, you get like, what is it, Tomorrow World, and then you've got like Gotham.
Actually, reading some of it, the person who's like the art director or whatever producer of this movie was aiming to make it look like the World Fair. But like set in some neo-noir Tokyo-esque futuristic thing. Or something along those lines. And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly, because you see like the glowing signs always and light up things, and it's not like in Japanese or anything, but it looks just like that, like in video games, or I'm getting that feel, right? It looks great. Even in the Arkham games, like the way they design the sets there, it's pretty good. What's the Batman one where you're outside in the city?
Gotham City? Yeah,
it must be. Yeah. I played that for a little bit, and I was like, that's crazy. You can fly around the like city, and it looks just like it, light pink lights and stuff. It's great.
So thumbs up from me on the set design.
10 out of 10
10
movie.
out of 10.
This movie's great.
We're at the Gotham Museum of Art, where we meet Mr. Freeze, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger. Freezes the cops who are coming after him as he says, "The Iceman cometh." Yes, I'm going to quote every single Arnie
good.
line.
I have them all.
He goes, "Your condition has left me cold to your pleas of mercy." Grabs a diamond from this museum of art. He says, "In this universe, there's only one absolute. Everything freezes." I don't know if that's true. Try speaking to the bottle of vodka in our freezer.
Is it not frozen?
No, vodka doesn't freeze.
Right, true.
So,
one day, it could if it gets that cold.
It doesn't freeze at regular temperatures. I believe it's got to go like minus.
Like if it became like the end of the world freeze and over, we could...
Let's see, at what temperature does vodka...
Because I know we covered the animated Batman thing, and a lot of listeners were messaging, hey, you guys are going to cover Sub-Zero, which was the animated Mr. Freeze story, which is very similar to the plot of this movie. And it's actually really good. I just don't think it was in theaters. But I had that as well as a kid, and it was really, really lit. So I know we have some of the Batman animated fans. And then Sub-Zero was pretty good. Have you ever seen it?
I have not, no.
Yeah, it was good.
I've not seen many of the animated ones.
Yeah, it's good.
Minus 26 Celsius is what vodka will freeze at.
Celsius.
So I guess... What do you mean?
No, I know. Someone,
That's how we...
No, someone somewhere just went Celsius.
Americans work it out. Calculator.
Yeah.
So everything freezes. He is right. Everything does freeze.
He freezes people.
And then Batman gloriously smashes through the top window. Why can't he ever use the doors? It's like, I need to stop this criminal from causing all this damage. So
At the Museum of Art.
So I'll just smash this. Maybe in Gotham, if you're a designer, just don't design glass roof ceilings.
It's like, hey, the Museum of Art's getting attacked by this new criminal, and he crashes through the window and then slides down a giant dinosaur.
Oh, yeah.
Why? First of all, it's Museum of Art. Did someone just create this dinosaur, or was it here because it's some museum?
Yeah, I mean, I question whether a diamond is art as well.
Yeah.
Like, would it be an art museum?
All I know is we're like 2, 3, 5 minutes into this movie, and Batman's sliding down a dinosaur.
He is.
Let's go.
He is. And says, "I'm Batman." Swoops down and they fight. I always love in these early Batman films, it's always Batman just looking fabulous, floating down with his wings spread. Mr. Freeze says, "You aren't sending me to the cooler." Might be my favourite. Might be.
No, there's better.
There's a few. This like...
Now it becomes a hockey game.
Yeah, so we've got this vase, like part of the museum, starts getting thrown in the air and kind of passed about a little. You can see... I write in my notes a lot in this film. You can see the strings. And that doesn't mean you can necessarily see the strings, but you just see the way things move. You can tell they're being pulled by strings. Okay. Whereas I think technology's come along a lot more where if someone gets hit, you see them like move as if they've been hit. Whereas you can see them like
yanking it.
And this vase here is just like floating around.
Oh my God.
As they're trying not to smash it. Yeah, I call them the Putty Patrol, but basically Mr. Freeze's minions are the Putty Patrol.
I joked about how this movie was basically designed to sell a lot of toys. It did its job. I had the whole set of this. I had these guys.
Hockey
I had
players.
2 of these hockey players, a Mr. Freeze and his truck thing, his ice mobile or whatever. Because I had the Batman mobile from the past movie, which is the same one in this movie. I was living the dream.
Is it slightly changed? I think they had silver.
There's
to it
something different. Yeah, all his gear is like iced up. Because later in the movie, he's like, I'm fighting an ice guy. I gotta like.
Be icy.
Yeah, I gotta look icy. Icy. Yeah, Brandon clipped that. Icy. I love how Batman's just fighting with like these hockey players, and they're doing this whole thing, and then Robin's like, "Well, I guess I'm gonna like surfs up," and then goes cowabunga. It's like, oh wait, that was a little later on. It's just so already it's so ridiculous.
Yeah, so they're kind of playing with these. They're playing hockey with the diamonds that are trying to be stolen, and everything's getting frozen. This is this to me is kind of a copy of one of those scenes with the Joker and all of his minions.
Yeah.
It looks like the same set, just changed.
This is exactly... I watch a lot of the Batman 60 show at another station I work at. We air it, and it's like, that's exactly it. I noticed after watching the 60 show episodes, it's the same sets changed, and the different criminals have just different outfits.
Yeah.
If you work for Catwoman, your guys are dressed as all like the cat outfits.
And then you'll put on penguin things.
Yeah, it's all... They were sailors, I think he had, for some reason.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know why. I watched that. I'm like, what the fuck? But it's the same
people.
thing, and that is exactly what this movie is taking from that 60s and taking straight from a comic book. I will say, out of all these, this movie is not a good movie by any means, but it totally feels like you're watching a comic book.
It does, yeah.
Like, I will give Schumacher credit for that, because I feel like he was like, well, they want a kids movie. I'm gonna get
every frame is filled with like stuff to look at. There's so many things to look at. It does look cool, this film, I think, in my opinion.
And then you have Arnie going, "What killed the dinosaurs?"
The Ice Age.
He freezes him.
It's the hockey team from hell.
Yeah.
So big fight scene. Robin comes in for the save. There's some just great music playing during
the music's great. Yeah. I will say, I think it's Elliot Goldenthal, who's apparently done all these other movies I've done, including like Pet Sematary and stuff, but all sorts of crazy stuff. SWAT, Across the Universe.
I remember SWAT.
Final Fantasy. He's even worked on. Like he plays in some stuff. Because I will say, it's some of the music in this is pretty lit.
Freeze tries to escape in his freeze rocket, can we call it?
Yeah, what the fuck? He just decides to fly to space?
Yeah, he's like, right, I've got to escape, got to go to space. But Batman swoops in just before this door closes. The rocket starts to take off. Robin tries to save Batman by jumping onto the rocket. Now he's clinging to the outside. And Mr. Freeze reveals that his plan is to take this rocket into space, causing Batman to freeze to death, and Mr. Freeze will escape.
Yeah. Good plan.
During this scene, George Clooney had injured his leg playing basketball. So throughout this scene, they had to cut off the boot to his bat suit. Okay. So he'd wear a cast on top, because obviously you can't fit a cast in this bat suit. And he's visibly limping inside this rocket.
Can you see the cast?
You can't see the cast, but you see him limping around.
Because I got one of my favorite movies, Rumble in the Bronx, with Jackie Chan. Near the end of the filming of the movie, he broke his leg. So if you have the Blu-ray in HD, you could just look and you're like, he's wearing a cast.
You can probably see it.
He's wearing a cast. Yeah, that's interesting. I like Batman's up in this thing. Mr. Freeze, for some reason, wants to go to space. Robin's there. He's saving him. It reminded me of another movie that came out in 1997, Austin Powers, where Dr. Evil's getting in the thing.
97, yeah.
And goes off. 97 was popping. Right.
So this rocket's flying into space, and Mr. Freeze ejects himself to fly away, sprouting these wings as well,
which a frozen butterfly.
Look really cool.
Yeah, you fancy.
I love this.
Very icy.
This guy's great. Batman sets up all these explosions to blow up the rocket, and him and Robin escape. Robin, now, this is taken out of Power Rangers.
This has to be.
Skateboarding in the sky.
Yeah,
down
this is where he's doing it. They're both sky surfing here. Yeah. In Power Rangers, it was Red Hot Chili Peppers. Keep on.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
People.
Is it the video game one? No.
Isn't that the one where they're flying through the sky? In this one, Robin's just like cowabunga, which is totally like Ninja Turtles. It's everything. They're taken from all sorts of different things here, but wow, just nuts that Batman and Robin are sky surfing.
Oh yeah,
why not?
So they get to Freeze's lair, and Mr. Freeze freezes Robin, saying, "Stay cool, bird boy." Batman then has to make a choice between chasing the villain or saving Robin. It's not quite the same dilemma as in Dark Knight, where it's like, you're going to save your woman or Harvey Dent.
Right.
This is like, you can either try and arrest me or just save your mate. It's like, well, I'm going to save my mate, aren't I?
He was just trying to escape.
And then I love this line because of how shit it is. It's not even an ice pun, but it's just, I'll kill you next time. It's just so on the nose.
I love Arnie.
I'll kill you next time.
So, Arnie's fucking great.
This is where I've written, okay, these lines are terrible. This is so much worse than I thought. Because this is a film, as you said, I loved as a kid. And I'm aware how bad it is after the fact, but I haven't rewatched it since my love for it as a kid.
Yeah.
I don't think. So it is quite funny as an adult now going, oh yeah, this is bad.
Yeah, this is a really bad movie.
We then see Uma Thurman, who is playing, I'm trying to remember the doctor's name, Julia?
Is it something?
No, Pamela Isley.
Pamela Lillian Isley.
Yes.
Lily.
She's playing this kind of weird, like, botanical scientist. She's doing research. She's in a greenhouse full of all these plants, greenhouse lab kind of thing, recording her research on a dictaphone. And as she's walking around, we're hearing these screams coming from another room.
It's like a basement.
Yeah.
It's almost like she didn't know it was there.
She's kind of... It feels like she's stayed at work, like, after hours.
Yeah.
So everyone kind of assumes she's not there. This is Selena Kyle, right? This is exactly the same nerdy Catwoman.
It reminds me, actually, have you seen this trending video with the girl in New York in her apartment? Have you seen? Okay, so no. It's trending like all day yesterday and today. This girl in her apartment, every time she goes into her bathroom, she would feel a cold breeze.
Right.
So she's like, where is this coming? So she was filming videos like for TikTok and Instagram of like a breeze coming, and she couldn't explain where it was coming from. So realized it was coming not from like a door or something, but behind her mirror in her bathroom. She moved her mirror, and there's a cutout leading into another room. So she puts her camera through it. It's terrifying. I highly recommend looking this up. She puts the camera through it, goes to her roommates, like, scared as shit. And they go, like, there's a whole, like, apartment back there. So she goes in while filming, and it seems like someone had been living there. And, like, it's a whole other secret condo, like, hidden away. So now she's telling her landlord, boarding it up. That's exactly what Poison Ivy... I highly recommend looking at this story.
There's all these stories of people, like, living in the attic and stuff like that.
She films herself, like, telling her roommates, like, look, peek through. Like, what the fuck? Like, she's almost, like, crying. She's really scared. And her roommate's like, whoa, like, it's like Parasite. I'd move away.
I'm always convinced there's someone in the scrump room. Because I rarely go into that scrump room. And sometimes I'm here on my own, and I'm hearing footsteps and things. But I just decide to stay in my room. I'm like, I'll let them do their thing. It's like, I know you're here.
That's because we have the haunted chair, bro. That's because you're sitting in it right now.
I know. It's like, I'm not going to confront you. If we don't confront each other, we'll be fine. You stick to the scrump room, I'll stick here.
I feel like a real person more than a ghost would scare me. I don't want a person
100%.
in my house. Yeah, fuck.
So this Pamela Isley is following the screams and sees this mad scientist, like classic mad scientist with the little round glasses and the big wacky hair, who he's got this guy who's strapped down. He's like cuffed his hands. He puts a luchador mask on him. Inserts these tubes and fills him up with venom.
While like world leaders, liquid. Secret like army, evil politician people are like watching on this demonstration.
Yes. This is very Captain America-esque. He's basically trying to make a super soldier. And he says he's going to create the ideal killing machine, and thus is born Bane. The venom keeps pouring into him. We see this guy who starts off just little weed.
Yeah. He said he was a criminal, but like tiny.
Yeah. Building all these muscles, veins, like purple veins, pulsating. This guy was a wrestler, wasn't he?
This guy was. The guy who plays Bane is Robert Swenson, and he actually died after filming this movie, which is very sad. But I believe he got to go to the premiere of this, and then like shortly after actually passed away. But he's also in No Holds Barred. He's played in like other like movies where he's always like the muscly guy, but he had like some sort of a wrestling career, WCW and some other stuff back in the day. But it's weird because this guy always, I don't know if he necessarily scared me, but it looks gross with the makeup, with the veins and everything.
I never like seeing veins.
Yeah, I don't like veins.
It's gross, and when they're like purple with green, it's like, oh, you're infected. So the guy unfortunately passed away, so R.I.P. And I know he was friends with like Hogan and some people. It says here he was also friends with James Caan. So like, hey, rest in peace. But he plays a great scary. It looks like a wrestler. Like literally looks like a wrestler. That's the design of him. He's a big muscly. He's a Mil Muertes essentially here.
Yeah,
isn't he?
I mean, no disrespect to this guy. I mean, again, this movie is what it is. He's working with what he's gotten here. He usually grunts and just says a few words in this movie. But comparing him to like the Bane character later on, it's such a completely different.
Yeah,
contrast.
so they've taken the character of Bane, but essentially just the only characteristic they've taken of him is you're a big guy. Because Bane is meant to be super intelligent, and I mean, he's the one that defeats Batman.
In the comics, Poison Ivy has a sidekick that is just some big muscle guy that like does her stuff for her. Right. They just took that and put Bane in the slot.
Bane.
I think his name was like Ivar or something weird. It's they just totally took that story and put Bane into the picture, and you're like, okay, well, Bane's actually more. If you read the books and stuff, there was so much more to that character that later on you see in the next time he's brought up. It's like, whoa, look at the difference. I think most people watch this movie and then years later we're like, Bane, I don't want to see that guy.
Oh yeah, I remember the kind of,
everyone's like,
I wouldn't say backlash, but people were kind of questioning it when Bane was going to be the lead. But then like comic heads were going, no, the character Bane is really interesting. That's exactly, and they've cast Tom Hardy, so it should be good.
Yeah.
So this guy, Bane, breaks free, and that's when Dr. Jason Woodrow, the mad scientist, sees Pamela Isley watching on, catches her, and she says she's heard everything and didn't do all this work with plants to lead to world domination. So
she's going to snitch on him.
She's going to snitch. So Woodrow goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, but I'm afraid you're going to have to die." I think he might be the best. He might have the best performance in the whole film.
Apparently, this guy does the voice of the Riddler in the animated show.
Okay,
that's why they kind of gave him a little gig here. And I believe he even does the voice of the Riddler in the video games.
Right.
I thought his voice was crazy, and I quickly looked him up.
I think he's the best actor in this.
He's great.
It's nothing. I think Mad Scientist played the part perfectly. He was kind of creepy and scary. I thought he did a really good job.
Loved it.
So he pushes her over one of these like lab tables, and a load of beakers and things smash around her. So this venom and toxins are pouring onto Pamela Isley,
covered in this shit.
And these vines start wrapping around her.
Feed me,
as
Seymour.
Well. Very much, very much. We go to the Batcave where Batman and Alfred are learning all about Dr. Victor Freeze, spelled F-R-I-E-S, Freeze.
So this is similar. We talked about how Tommy Lee Jones' Two-Face got like this 10-second origin story in the Batcave. They do the same thing with Freeze here. Like, hey, here's like this clip of this guy like working on this McGregor's this fake disease they made for this thing, like McGregor's syndrome. His wife has it. He's trying to work on the thing, and it's showing the clip. We mentioned how Freeze has 27 puns, and they're all about like thing. I think the best one is here from George Clooney.
Okay,
he's like, okay, see, he's working in the lab, and this is where everything goes north. I fucking howled, George Clooney. This is where everything goes north, and then plays the clip of him falling and turning into Freeze. Oh my god!
So his plan is to freeze his wife, who's dying, until he can find a cure for her disease. But he accidentally trips and falls into this -50, cold chamber.
He should have been more careful.
He should have. He survived, but it mutated his body, and he needs extreme cold to survive. So he's designed this suit, which keeps his body at the right temperature. But it's powered by diamonds.
Diamonds forever. Yeah, I love his little origin story here. It's kind of shit, but it's what the... I
kind of like this. I think you always want to see how it happens.
He's got a good reason.
I think,
he's an anti-villain, really.
I like starting the film with having the villain kind of already formed. I think it throws you right into it.
Right.
But I quite like this, seeing his transformation. And they're making him slightly sympathetic as well. He is justified for his reasons. We understand why he's doing these things.
A motive.
A lot of these villains, you don't quite know why they're doing it.
Because at this point, he's stealing diamonds so that he can stay alive, so that he can save his wife.
Yes.
He's not like just killing people. He's just freezing them.
He just wants diamonds now.
Yeah.
So Batman is pissed at Robin for coming along to the museum when he told him not to. Robin says, quite justifiably, like, how are we supposed to work together if you can't even trust me? Alfred tells Batman that, look, you don't really trust anyone. Batman's like, well, I trust you, Alfred. They have a bit of a heart-to-heart here.
I will say it right now. The best parts of this movie are George Clooney and the guy who plays Alfred. The reason I said I think George Clooney makes a good Bruce Wayne is because you don't see Bruce Wayne being this, like, gentle, maybe. This like actual human being inside, the way he interacts with Alfred in this. And Michael Gough, we've mentioned that we thought he's been great in all the past Batman movies we've been talking about. The whole movie sucks, and then there's a little bit of actual like acting and heart to heart, and it's the scenes with these guys.
This is what you always want from Alfred.
Yeah.
You want Alfred who Bruce seems to know everything, but it's always Alfred there to kind of teach him the things he's forgetting.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to trust this guy.
Yeah,
essentially,
he's like his father, essentially, and there's lots of like flashbacks and stuff. But I think this shows that, like, hey, you know what, George Clooney is just a good actor in maybe dramas, because the best acting he does in this movie is not the action scenes. Sorry, George, but it's the talking, and I thought he was really good. That's the only bits really that, and no one wants to watch a movie with Bruce Wayne and Alfred just talking.
No,
so yeah,
it's kind of like in The Amazing Spider-Man. The Andrew Garfield one.
Okay.
It got to the point where I was like, I just love watching Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield flirt with each other. Like, this is the most like real thing of this film that I'm actually like into, because their chemistry's great and they're great actors. And then as soon as he's Spider-Man, I'm like,
yeah.
Can I just watch more of Peter and just have like a 500 Days of Summer of these two? Can we just do that?
No, you don't want that.
We go back to the lab where we see Dr. Jason Woodrow is walking around on his phone saying that we're going to have these super soldiers ready for tomorrow. And that's when Poison Ivy comes out of the ground. This is Pamela Isley, but she's transformed. She's now got red hair, this green suit. She's looking rather attractive.
Oh, yeah. She's Uma Thurman looking like the greatest. Again, sex icon. I see this costume like 10 times. You see, obviously, like the cartoon versions of Poison Ivy outfits and stuff, but it's such an iconic thing with the look. Later on, she puts the buns up, like the wig with the buns up, pointing up in the air with the red hair and the orange, and it looks so visually pleasing. I think after watching this, I'm not saying this is a better movie, but I prefer Poison Ivy to maybe Catwoman, just because of like how colorful and like plant related it is as a character.
I would say if it's Halloween, and you're picking a costume, I think this is a more interesting costume to wear.
Yeah, I think so too.
Whereas it's like, oh, cool, you're wearing black and cat ears, awesome.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like I've seen some people pull this costume off for like real, like some people that look like her and stuff, and I'm like, wow, that's crazy.
I like the ones that really look like vines, just all wrapped. There's a character in some of the later Spider-Man comics called Silk.
Okay.
And her first costume, she's basically a character that got bitten by the spider as well.
Okay. Oh, right.
Her first costume, she makes out the webbing.
Right. Okay.
She ends up having more like Spider-Man but I really like the one which is just web around her, and that's Yeah, when I sing Poison Ivy, which is just like her costumes made from the vines, I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
So Woodrow is kind of a little spooked that she's alive. Pamela, you look great for a dead woman. And then this kind of, I'll just say porn music starts to play. Yeah, very Val Venus-esque. And she goes, hello, Jason. I think I've had a change of heart. She's now being all sexy, and she says that her blood has been replaced by aloe, her skin by chlorophyll, and filled my lips. She leans in and kisses him on the mouth with venom. Thus poisoning Woodrow. We see his tongue start to turn green, and he dies. And she goes, oh yeah, I should have mentioned this earlier. I'm poison.
She says, I am Mother Nature, which I'm pretty sure was like the original name for her, because they're like, let's just make a Mother Nature. Let's just change it to a different, or make our own kind of thing. And I'm glad they did. I like the name Poison Ivy. I think it's great.
Yeah, I like it. It works. She then starts smashing up everything in the lab, and she says, I want to take back the world. It's not nice to fool with Mother Nature. And she starts this fire in the lab, but sees one of the beakers that says Wayne Enterprises. So she has a plane to catch.
So I think she like burns down this place, takes the insurance money, and then gonna go ask Bruce Wayne to sign this bill that just allows, like, I don't know, global warming, fix everything in the world, environmental shit. But again, a nice motive for a villain.
Yeah, she's Daniel Bryan, just taking things a bit too far.
Like someone tried to kill her. It didn't happen. It helped her come this new thing. So she got revenge, killed that guy. I wouldn't say she's done anything wrong yet.
No.
And says, you know what? This world has gone to shit. We need to grow more trees.
Yeah.
She's basically I'm going to prove to everyone we need to be vegan.
Absolutely.
That's what she's doing.
Greenpeace. Mr. Freeze is now conducting all his minions to sing for him.
I'm Mr. White Christmas. I'm Mr.
As he's
Snow.
Smoking away on a cigar, but we realise he's running out of the diamonds, but he does have one giant one. And if he can get one more of these big diamonds, he'll have enough to freeze the city. And thus, when the city is frozen, he won't need to wear his suit because he can just live.
Yeah. Free.
Yeah, live free.
I love his sidekick here. All the villains got like their arm candy, and he's got Vivica A. Fox playing Ms. Behaven, and she's like, "Hey, screw your wife. Come hang out with me. Let's have some fun. I need to be warmed up." And he's like, "No, I'm busy." And she's like, "Wow, talk about your cold shoulder."
Oh,
I love Vivica A. Fox. She's great.
So he says he's going to hold the city hostage until he can finish his research and find a cure. And that's where Freeze checks on his wife, and we see that he's got her in this water tank, just floating.
She's just floating.
Just floating.
Somehow.
Back at Wayne Manor, the doorbell rings, and we have this schoolgirl at the door. And Robin says, please say you're looking for me. But she's there for Uncle Alfred. It's his niece, Barbara.
I was like, hey, Alicia Silverstone's in this. That's great. And then I was instantly distracted by Bruce Wayne's, George Clooney's great turtleneck.
Oh, very nice turtleneck.
I'm going to get one.
I like his dressing gown as well. It's something I miss. I have such a nice dressing gown back in the UK.
Gotta bring it over.
Oh, it's so comfy. I do want to get one.
I want these turtleneck, man.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the chain, because, real G's don't need to show off their chains.
I've been losing a bit of weight. I want to get to a point where I can pull off a turtleneck.
I feel like it's I'm like, I don't have hair on my head, and bald guys go good with turtlenecks for some reason. So I know it's a vibe.
But we know neither of us can pull it off like Jesse from The Six.
No,
you just know he'd be able to rock a turtleneck.
And you've seen how he rocks the UpNXT hoodie.
The White Claw hoodie. Yeah.
ProWrestlingTees.com/UpNXT.
Yeah.
20% off right now, March Madness.
Ooh.
Yeah. I love this turtleneck. Alicia Silverstone, Clueless, she's famous for. I'm not too big on Alicia Silverstone.
So she got a lot of shit for this film.
Reading up on this movie, it appears like she didn't have too much fun
She
on this.
Put on a couple of pounds before this film, and basically the media were just targeting
really
her,
mean, yeah,
fat shaming her and all this. And you look at her, fucking not fat
like,
at
what?
all. Like, what are you talking about? Joel Schumacher would shoot down a lot of journalists in interviews, especially women. He'd be like, like, this is disgusting. How are you like shaming this teenager?
Right.
Like, shouldn't you be trying to like support wowomen?
Right.
Stuff like
that.
Yeah,
good for him, because it's pretty shit. Just reading stories, like, so many people were going after her, just like, someone must have leaked. So the bat suit had to like get refixed for her.
Yeah.
For her scenes. So they cut out there were supposed to be a lot more scenes with her, apparently. And someone leaked this, and that's what caused this whole story of her, like, she's fat now. It's like, what? No, she's not. That's so ridiculous. Yeah. I know she hasn't done too many things that I'm big on. I know was she the one who got kind of famous a few years ago? She's the one who feeds her kid like a bird.
What?
Did you hear about this?
No.
I'm pretty sure this is a thing. She put a video out where she feeds her babies like a bird feeds their babies. So, like, eats something and then, like, puts it back out or something.
Right.
I could be wrong, but
yeah, I'm trying. I don't like. She's someone where I'm aware of her name, but can't think of anything I've seen her in.
Yeah, Clueless.
I'd never watched Clueless.
Oh, it's pretty good. Paul Rudd, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't know any. I'm looking through her IMDb.
Yeah, okay, I was right. Alicia Silverstone feeds her baby mouth to mouth like a bird.
Probably because of all that fat shaming.
You don't want to be. You need to.
No, we're having half of this. I'm having half with you. God forbid you put on a few pounds. So we're learning about Barbara here, who lost both her parents, and Alfred's been supporting her ever since. He believes that she's studying at Oxbridge.
Yes, this is great. It's not a real place, is it?
No. So, well, we use the term Oxbridge because Oxford and Cambridge are the top two universities. So when you're going through like secondary school, when you start going to like apply for unis, we have what's the name? In the US, what are the group of like top universities called? I can't remember.
No idea.
But we've got
Yale.
Yeah, but there's a name that's like, you're at a such and such university.
Kappa Pi fraternity. I don't know.
No, I can't remember. But we basically have the Russell Group in the UK, which is the like elite universities. If you go to one of the Russell Group unis,
elite.
And then Oxford and Cambridge are at the top. So a lot of people need like extra lessons and stuff if you're going to apply for Oxbridge, as they say. But Oxbridge itself isn't a real school. But it doesn't matter because she's not going there anyway.
Yeah, she came back.
She dropped out, but they don't know that yet. She sees Robin's motorbike and thinks it looks kind of cool and wants to give it a ride. But Alfred is like, no, missy, you're not going around riding on motorcycles.
Come on.
We learn that Alfred has been trying to find his brother Wilfred, who he thinks is somewhere in India, but he's, for some reason, desperate to find his brother, who he's lost contact with. And we'll kind of find out why a bit later.
Is it because he's dying? He's dying, but there's no actual reason that he needs to like tell this guy Bruce is Batman. It's not like
No.
But it seems like that's what he's trying to do.
I think it's he's trying to get Wilfred to be Alfred, essentially.
Got you.
Like, be like, I need someone to look after Bruce.
Because they were going to make another movie, so they probably were going to say this is Wilfred.
Maybe.
To someone else.
Yeah.
I believe they wanted Anthony Hopkins or something. Someone weird. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that could be what it was. But Alfred pretty much is also like hiding an illness.
Yes.
That is the same, happens to just happen to be the same illness that Mr. Freeze's wife has.
Exactly. In the middle of the night, Barbara starts sneaking around Wayne Manor and goes to the room of the motorbikes, and takes one, steals one.
Thief.
This family just welcomes you in with open arms, and that's what you do. Bane and Poison Ivy are now at the observatory, and Ivy's in her full like disguise now. We learn a lot more about this observatory as the film's going on. Bruce is donating a telescope to this observatory, which it's something to do with satellites, and it's superhero science, right?
Yeah, so
this telescope can match up with these satellites and basically allow you to see anywhere in the world. He's at this kind of press conference saying about this telescope.
Media's pressing him on his girl. You get married? It's basically George Clooney. We know in 10 years this is going to be the actual topic.
100%. It's very funny to watch.
It's so funny. The joke here is he's like, marriage, like, commitment, and it's like
his girl is right there next to him as well.
Was that his actual? I believe his girlfriend at the time was in this movie. I'm not sure if this was.
I don't know. I just meant Bruce.
Yeah. Sorry, I know.
So he's been asked about marriage and getting a bit awkward, but also kind of makes a cheeky little joke where he's like, "Oh, you can point the telescope anywhere except my bedroom." This is, as far as the Playboy of Bruce Wayne goes, this is it.
Yeah, you don't see too much of the classic Playboy Bruce Wayne. He's just donating this thing. People know who he is because it's weird. In other scenes, he's just Batman at the media stuff. So it's like, wouldn't you just be Bruce at this stuff? It's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird. I know I'm praising him for like being Bruce, and it's not this scene that I'm praising him more so for the different side you don't see from the other actors before.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe the low point is the Playboy-esque type thing.
You do need a little bit of it.
Yeah, and I know fans think they did this. His girlfriend here, I'm blanking on her name. I didn't write it down, but they think they do her dirty because in the comics, like he's his real first love, and in this movie, she's just another like.
This is Julia. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's Julie Madison.
Yeah. So like apparently like this character is in the comics, and people are like, oh, they should have had.
I mean, I've said this every Batman film we've done. Apart from Catwoman, I've never like taken to any of.
Yeah.
It's not like a Lois Lane or a Mary Jane. Like
Right.
I never think who's associated with Batman apart from Catwoman.
Just Catwoman.
Catwoman.
They have kids.
And yeah, they really don't focus on this woman at all.
Not at all.
She's just there for Bruce to kind of establish.
It's his arm.
Hey, I don't want to be married. All right.
Hear that, Stacey Keebler?
We're having fun, and that's the extent of it.
George did Stacey Keebler dirty. He like dated her for so long. She's like, let's get married, let's have kids. He's like, nah, don't do that. Like all the women in his life, and then finally meets some next girl, and he's like, you know what? Let's get married. Yeah. It happens like that.
The right one.
Yeah, it happens.
Along.
It happens. He knew.
We have Pamela Isley here, who approaches Bruce, and
she wants him to sign this bill for the thing, but in the small things, you know, the fine print that you should always look before accepting anything. It's like, and it'll wipe out like humans and just plants will take over.
Yeah, so it's this contract, to be more energy efficient and all this kind of stuff.
Basically, fucking his everything up.
Yeah, and Wayne is saying here, look, it's all nice idea, but if we don't use the energy like we use, people are going to die of cold and stuff as well. So it's like, I think being green is great, but it's not like realistic.
Yeah.
Still conversations we're having today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he shuts her down nicely. He's polite.
She makes a speech saying that no one can protect people with the way the world's going. This woman laughs and it's like, oh, of course, we've got Batman and Robin. They protect us. We then see Mr. Freeze, who's chilling. See what I did there? Watching videos of him and his wife.
We didn't have enough ice puns in this movie that you had to make.
He's watching videos of him and his wife. One of his minions interrupts him, so he just freezes him and says, I hate when people talk during the movie. One more diamond, my love. And he sees Bruce Wayne just happens to be doing a diamond fundraiser. So it's like, all right, well, more diamonds sounds good to me.
But it is revealed that it's a setup.
It's a setup.
They're doing it so that they know he'll show up.
They'll lure him.
Yeah, he's like,
diamond fundraiser? Just so happens I need a diamond.
The diamonds.
So we're at this diamond fundraiser thing.
And that's what I mean. It's not Bruce, it's Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
And everyone's just cool with these guys in these costumes. To be fair, everyone's in costumes and like weird shit.
But also, yeah, you're right. It makes way more sense for Bruce to do this. If you're actually trying to lure them.
In the other movies, he quickly dips out and changes.
Yeah.
Just do that.
Exactly. Because Mr. Freeze seems really dumb here. Going for this.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, Batman and Robin, the two people that have already tried to stop me once already, are throwing a diamond
party
fundraiser knowing I want diamonds.
It's because he's new at this. He's not an actual villain. Okay. I think that's why. I think that's what they're trying to get.
So everyone's in costume. We've got these kind of gorilla costumes. this I thought was pretty cool. It reminded me of this. What's it called? Mangoes or something in Miami. It's this famous
like
bar there. Yeah, where people are all.
This is like,
having a bit of a fun.
This is like all very colorful. There's flowers, everything. There's people in like shirtless with like paint on their bodies.
Yeah,
there's like
great.
There's people in suits and fancy dresses. Like it's a classic Gotham City throws this wild party kind of esque type thing.
Yeah.
And then it goes into these giant pink, purple, fluffy gorillas.
Oh, they're awesome.
And you're like, first they're starting to like push people and take their spots by walking over like lily pads and stuff. And then they just start to like dance.
Dancing, it's great.
Apparently this is like a homage to like this movie called Blonde Venus from like the 30s. And it's like they take from that and go with this for the gorillas.
I was getting James Bond vibes.
Yeah, for sure.
There are those films. I'm thinking more like the Roger Moore ones where he'll go to a place and there'll be this kind of thing going on.
I want to go
party.
here.
It was
this
great.
Looks great. This is like Burning Man vibes.
Poison Ivy then reveals herself, and I'm getting Moulin Rouge vibes here. This is Nicole Kidman coming down with the diamonds. Really like good entrance from Poison Ivy here.
Yeah, I love this. This is great. Again, I fancy Uma Thurman in this movie, and this is definitely the scene where she's revealing herself here.
She blows this, I'm just going to call it a love powder.
Right. Pheromones.
These pheromones over everyone, which kind of makes them just infatuated with her. Robin just falls in love with this woman right away.
Hi there.
So she's seducing everyone and is stealing jewels as she's doing it. And then Robin and Batman start fighting over how much they'll bid for Poison Ivy. So at this event, you can bid on these women. We've got all these like beautiful women lined up,
and guys, I think too,
that people are bidding on. But now everyone wants to bid for Poison Ivy, and we're talking in the thousands for most of these women. And now Batman and Robin are going 4 million. Well, I'll bid 5 million. I'll bid 6 million.
Bats goes 1 million, and then he goes 2 million. Says Robin. He goes, "You don't have it. Well, I'll borrow it from you. 4 million, 5 million." And then I think in one of the most famous scenes in this movie, it's just so fucking ridiculous. Batman pulls out his Batman MasterCard,
the Bat card,
and if you look closely on the card when he pulls it out, when it says "good through," like your credit card tells you when it expires, it says "forever." With the font from the last movie. I love that so much. Why is this in a Batman movie?
But I think it goes back to that Adam West thing.
Yeah.
Like this is, we've kind of talked in the last films about being a little bit disappointed with the gadgets because there isn't much.
It's got a fucking
This is everything. And this is the bat, shark, repellent, all the stuff from the 60s, you know? You got something on your belt for it, even...
And if I wasn't capped out at Batman pulling out the MasterCard, this is when Mr. Freeze shows up with the line, "All right, everyone, chill." I fucking love it. I love it so much.
And he ices them all.
He's icing people. He sees Poison Ivy and he's like, "Hey, that's looking good." He goes, "What are you supposed to be? Plant girl, vine lady, garden gal?" Clever little Clover.
Would say, mate, your name isn't the most like inventive.
Mr. Freeze.
Your name was already Mr. Freeze anyway. You just changed the spelling, Mr. Freeze.
Mr. Freeze. There's a worse one. Who's the guy? Captain Cold. He's an actual Flash villain, Captain Cold. That's such a lame name.
I still want Egghead in a movie.
Egghead? Yeah. Oh god. There's a villain in the 60s show that was only ever in the show, and then years later in a comic, it's never been used in anything, and it was like this pharaoh, the Sphinx. He's like this bald guy who's in charge of like, it's all like Egyptian and shit. It's so weird.
I'm pretty sure Egghead was only in the
I'm pretty sure maybe I'm thinking of the same guy. That guy's ridiculous. Fuck. There's so many weird Batman villains.
I
love Mr. Freeze here. Everyone chill. I think it's hilarious. He's going off with all these other puns that aren't ice related, but fuck.
Now I'm reading Seinfeld star Jason Alexander wants to play the Batman villain Egghead. This was only a year ago.
Be great.
Yeah.
Be great.
Book it.
Yeah, book it.
Book it.
Summer of Egghead.
Yes. So Mr. Freeze is there, freezing everyone. He tries to get the diamond from Ivy, and she tries to use her pheromones on Freeze to kind of keep the diamond. but he says it doesn't work on the cold-hearted. Cool party as he leaves in his... Did you guys have Robot Wars over here?
Yeah.
That's what his getaway
really
vehicle looks like here. It's this like buggy, like with spikes on it.
It's got spikes.
Silver.
Yeah, again, I'm pretty sure I had this toy, and it's just like I don't understand why he would. I mean, it makes sense because it's ice, but like just spikes. I don't really.
Yeah,
he's got to have a car because Batman's got a car.
He does. It just doesn't look like a very cool one.
No.
Oh, sorry.
Like
pun.
it looks like he needs it to break through things. So like, fuck. I guess it's practical and not necessarily for looks.
I guess.
Yeah.
One of the monkeys takes their like mask off, and it's revealed to be Bane. Poison Ivy says we got work to do. This is where we've got this great sweeping shot of Gotham. And as
we mentioned that giant statue, they're like driving on it.
As Freeze is escaping and Batman's chasing him, this looks like a Mario Kart level to me.
100%.
It looks really cool here. They're chasing around this giant statue. Batman tells Robin to pull back. They're kind of riding down the arm of this statue, getting towards the hand, and it's going to be a jump. They're going to have to jump to like another building, and Batman is telling Robin to stop because he won't be able to make it. Robin's like, fuck you, I can make it. So Batman like talks to his headset.
Hey Siri,
hey
Google,
disable the Robin bike, whatever it is, stopping the bike from running. I thought this was really dangerous and risky.
You almost just killed him.
It's because the bike just stops working and almost falls off the edge of it anyway.
This would have killed him.
Yeah,
definitely. Batman, what are you doing?
Bad call here,
Being
Batman.
a bad dad.
Bad call. So Batman then smashes through the window. They make this jump, and he apprehends Mr. Freeze.
I love the shot. It fades in, and it's him like just posing randomly with his Batman like cape and everything, just with a tied up Mr. Freeze. It's like, who are you posing to? Why are you doing this pose?
He's fabulous, I've told you.
He's fabulous. So Batman catches Mr. Freeze, and he didn't need Robin's help.
But Robin is pissed that Batman stopped him. He thinks that this is all down to jealousy because Poison Ivy clearly likes Robin more. Batman basically says, look, it's my rules. You're living in my house.
My way or the highway.
My money, so you do what I fucking tell you to do, okay? Bruce and Alfred have another heart-to-heart where Alfred's kind of telling him to trust the kid and that kind of thing.
It's got to be a family.
Robin finds Barbara in the bike room as she wants to go for a ride, and Robin tries to stop her, and she takes him down with a hiya!
It was like a judo throw.
Hiya! Literally says hiya.
He's like, yo, that was great. You want to do some laundry karate?
Oh, I forgot about that.
There's no laundry karate.
There's no laundry karate in this scene.
Fuck, in this movie. Yeah,
in this film, yeah.
That's why it sucks.
Freeze is taken to Arkham Asylum, and the police guards actually pull him out of his suit and make him stay like in a room that's not at the right temperature. So he's starting to...
They make him weak.
Yeah, it's making him weak because he needs to be in cold to survive. And
there's another wrestler in this movie. Jesse Ventura as one of his guards here.
Right.
Him and Arnie are friends because they're in Predator together.
Okay.
But and both go into politics, I think.
Yeah.
And I could tell you couldn't see him yet, but he was talking, and I was like, that's got to be. I forgot it was him, but it's Jesse the Body Ventura.
Nice. They tell Freeze that he's going to be here for a long, long time. And Freeze says, sadly, you won't be here to see it.
He knows he's going to get out.
He knows he's going to get out. Poison Ivy is now creating her lair with the help of Bane, just getting plants everywhere, making it look real nice.
She uses a Turkish bathhouse.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
They scare off these neon men who are there.
They're from the last movie.
They are.
They're the colorful lair, like these street gangs that love fluorescent neon paint.
That's
everywhere.
right. Yeah.
There's even some graffiti of the Joker in this
I
movie.
noticed that. Yeah, there's a few moments where you see we see the Riddler and Two-Face's
like,
costumes
stuff
earlier.
These guys are great. I love the look of these guys. Hello, my little pretty. You look good enough to eat.
So she says it took God 7 days to make paradise. Let's see if I can do better. As she's just growing plants everywhere like a madman.
Yeah, it is a good spot to use a Turkish bath that's like beaten down because it's got all the water areas and stuff. Like it makes it nice and hot and steamy for your plants.
Bruce is with Julie, who tells him that she wants to be with him forever, and he's like, no. He doesn't want to commit, and he sees Poison Ivy in the distance. She's saying, look, I want to be with you forever. You and me forever. I want a life with you. No pressure, though. Just answer me when you're ready. It's like, it sounds like a lot of pressure there, love.
And he's like, so that's cool. That's cool. Maybe I'll think about it, Ivy. And she's like, whoa, Ivy? Who's Ivy? And he's like, I don't know. I can't tell you. Which, have you ever done that? I don't.
He does the I, Ross, take thee, Rachel on her, doesn't he?
Yeah. Like, I'm happy to say I've never done that slip up.
I, when I was a student, was, like, very briefly seeing this girl.
Yeah.
And it's a night out and we're going back to someone's house. And we're all in a cab.
Right.
And the friends are like, oh yeah, so when we get to Laura's, we're doing this and talking about Laura's. And I went, Laura, who the fuck is Laura?
Oh no.
And she like hit me and I tried to just play it off like I'm joking. But I genuinely was like, who's this Laura people are going on about? But I've never said the wrong name.
No, never. I've never done that. Fucking Bruce, get with it.
Barbara has stolen one of the bikes and goes to this bike gang. She likes to drag race.
Yeah, she goes to like we see more of these like street people, different people. There's people dressed up as like Clockwork Orange gang.
Yeah.
There's like all sorts of different gangs. It's like Tokyo Drift on steroids here. It's crazy. We see Coolio.
Oh, is he
rapper
there?
Coolio is just here as an extra, as well as Toronto's own, rest in peace, Corey Haim. From he kind of fell off Hollywood, and this is what he basically was succumbed to in roles of movies, I guess. Just one shot of him going, yeah.
So we get this whole like drag race bike scene. It kind of feels like the mall from Tony Hawk.
Yeah,
they're like going through. I don't really know why this scene's in the film.
It doesn't make sense. It's showing you that Barbara is not just some schoolgirl. She's actually pretty. She knows how to judo, fight. She knows how to do all this stuff because Alfred maybe like it runs in the family or something along those lines. And
I think that's it. It's showing she's badass before she turns.
Yeah, it's letting you know like she's not just some random person that is getting like she races this scene. They mention briefly when she's making the deal. She's making side bets with these other nasty street people, and they're like talking to her, and they're like, "You're the one who won last week" or something along those lines. So it's like letting you know that she's done this before and she's racing these people. But Robin shows up and he's like, I'm gonna whatever. But it's someone that like
she almost dies.
Yeah,
in this, so he saves her.
Someone sets up a trap for her with like this green fire for some reason, some fucking reason. Everything's green and neon and green and highlighter colors in the dark. And Robin saves her here.
So Barbara reveals to Robin that she got kicked out of Oxbridge and she's been doing drag racing to raise money for Alfred. Because he has a dismal life of servitude.
Fuck.
This is where I wrote, who the fuck speaks like that? What teenager? It reminded me, you know when Ronda Rousey was in WWE?
Yeah.
And in her promos, it just sounded like she'd swallowed a thesaurus and she'd use all these long words and would be like, Ronda, why are you talking like this?
No one talks like that.
No, especially a teenager. This dismal life of servitude. She doesn't think that Alfred is happy serving Bruce all these years. And she reveals that Alfred is sick.
And then
Bruce
he just
kind of overhears and says, no, he's dying. I'm like, oh, how do you know? I can just tell. Just knows Alfred so well. He knows Alfred's had a secret. And
it's true.
He kind of put two and two together.
Yeah.
That he's dying.
Hope he's okay.
Yeah. So we've got Poison Ivy and Mr. Freeze again. Ivy's kisses both these prison guards to kill him.
She kills Jesse the body.
She's claimed she's like his sister, so she can visit. This is where we see all kind of the suits in Arkham, basically, where people have been taken in. You see the Riddler's suit, you see Two-Face's suit, and you see Mr. Freeze's suit.
Yeah.
Because we need him to suit up.
I'm surprised I couldn't see any others that maybe like you could have put in there. You could have put like, I don't know, the Joker's. I mean, he's dead, so I guess not. But
you could have put Penguin's
like,
cane.
You could have put characters that aren't even in these movies yet.
Yeah.
Right? Like you could have put so many different avenues there.
Yeah. And I think nowadays people know the Easter eggs really hit.
Yeah.
So you would fill this room up with all this stuff.
Even seeing Riddler and Two-Faces, you're like, whoa.
It's cool to reference it. Yeah. Especially when you've changed the main actor. I know some of the others are the same, but it's nice to know it's the same continuity.
Right.
So Bane breaks Freeze's suit out. So Freeze gets all suited up and they escape Arkham to go and get his wife.
I like how they break in and then they escape. He's like, always winterize your pipes. Fucking another Freeze line. And then he's like, okay, cool. Thanks for helping me break out. We got to go get me my diamonds and we got to grab my wife. And she's like, what? A wife? Oh, sure. Now you mention a wife.
They jump out of the Arkham Asylum here is like up this tower. And they jump into the water. They die.
They would die.
You die from this height.
Unless there's no way.
A certain height that water becomes as hard as concrete if you're falling.
Yeah, there is, right?
Yeah.
I don't think they would survive.
No.
This. How would you survive if you're falling out of something and falling into water? Maybe make a cannonball. I don't know. That's what I'd do. You'd still just break your bones.
From that height, yeah.
Yeah. From this height, there's no way. Unless he did the Iceman thing where you make a slide with ice or something.
Maybe.
But I don't even think he could do that at this point. He's weakened. We're getting too in-depth.
You take your shoes off as you're falling. And right at the last moment, you jump off your shoes.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
Would you live?
Yeah. Definitely, it's proven it works. 100%.
Maybe Bane takes the blunt of it.
Maybe fuck Bane.
They use Bane as a surfboard, and then when they land, they just push his button again.
So he just belly flops the whole thing?
Yeah, and then he's kind of dead, but then they put more venom in him, and he wakes up.
Oh,
there you go. That's how they survived.
Yeah.
We booked it.
It was cut. It was on the cutting room floor, where most of this film should have been. Bruce and Alfred have another heart-to-heart where Bruce learns about the illness Alfred has. Alfred says that he'd have liked to have been up there fighting with Bruce all these years. And Bruce says not all heroes wear capes. And then they learn that Mr. Freeze has escaped.
I like the fact that Robin and is like... there's a line about how they're like, oh, by the way, I'm completely over... Poison Ivy. Just letting you know, by the way, I'm sorry about that. I'm over it. And then he's like, yeah, I'm over it too. Actually, we're boys. It's fine. It's good. But great stems though. Yeah, buds too. Yeah, those are great.
Batman and Robin then find Nora Freeze as well. Robin gets caught by Poison Ivy and she blows the love powder all over him. Now Bane and Batman are fighting. Ivy tries to blow the love potion at Batman as well, but he gets away. Bane is trying to kill Batman, and I think he says try not to make a mess when you die.
Yeah,
it's one of the only lines. Oh, she says it?
She
okay.
said it. Yeah. As he's there. I love the line from Bruce here, from Batman, who says, why are all the gorgeous ones homicidal maniacs?
Yes.
Is it just me, is what he says. I felt that. I was like, I could agree with him there.
Ivy's trying to seduce Robin some more. Batman sees obviously what's going on and is trying to tell Robin that she is poisoned and that she's trying to poison him. So now Batman and Robin are fighting over Poison Ivy.
No.
And Robin falls into some, green paint?
Goop. Yeah,
green
I don't
goop.
even know. Yeah, filling, frost custard. I don't know. Yeah.
We have Poison Ivy with Mr. Freeze. Ivy tells him that his wife is dead and hands him a snowflake necklace that she wore as proof that she's died.
So she's lying to him because she pulled the plug, but she's just getting rid of the wife.
She pulled the plug.
And basically makes him want to kill Batman.
And there's a nice moment. He cries a tear and it turns to ice and evaporates. Look, kind of.
I like how all of a sudden he's got his layer attached to her layer, and his half is icy and shit, and her half is still plants. And she's like, "Yeah, make yourself a home." Fuck. Did he get a designer in here that quick to do this?
Just froze it.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
just froze it.
So Freeze is devastated and wants humanity to suffer as he is suffering.
First, I'll freeze Gotham, and then...
the world!
Adam and Evil.
That fucking terrible line. This is where I was going. Like, okay, these two are working together, but if everything's frozen, how are any of these plants going to grow?
She's not thinking.
And I'm thinking that, and then right away, she answers my question.
True.
And explains that these are mutant plants with the strength of animals, so they will survive this. And once all of this is said and done, it's going to be the two of them left and a fuckload of plants and ice. Sounds a terrible idea.
Doesn't sound good.
It feels like you'd regret it right away.
I'd be fine with living with Uma Thurman for the rest of my life and ice and plants. That sounds okay, but the other way around.
Oh, Uma Thurman. Yeah, you're then going, now I'm spending the rest of my life with this guy who's depressed over his dead wife.
All he does is make puns. I can't hang out with
Yeah, sounds awful.
Where does this leave Bane? He's just their servant?
Bane's like, hey, guys, what about me?
What about his hockey players? What about, like, all the other... What about the people who make food? Like, what are you going to do? You're going to kill everybody?
Such a bad idea.
This is a terrible idea.
Such a bad plan.
This is like a suicide mission here, I think, from them. But he's just... I guess he's in that zone because his wife died, and he's like, you know what? Fuck the world.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I get it from his point of view.
Yeah.
I really don't get hers.
She just wants plants to become the new Earth.
Yes. Alfred is in his bed dying and tells Barbara about his brother and that he wants her to go and find Wilfred and give him this CD. And he's made this CD and it's in this special sealed box. We're at the observatory ball and Pamela Isley is there seducing Commissioner Gordon to giving her the keys to the police headquarters.
Pheromones.
We then see Bane, who's by the bat symbol, who's ripping off the bat sign to just keep the Robin symbol there. Barbara is then trying to get into the CD that he's been given. What a shitty niece.
Yeah.
Your uncle's dying and goes, can you do... My dying wish is for you to give my brother this classified CD. She's like, yeah, sure, right away. All right, gotta watch this. What's on this?
I gotta see what's on this.
I gotta see what's on this.
She can't access it. She's trying to... The computers are in the goddamn... They're in the computer. She can't access.
Alfred and Bruce have a really nice moment together. They tell each other they love each other. Bruce gives him a little kiss. It's nice. It's sweet.
That's what I mean. The best parts are like the actual... You don't ever see Bruce and Alfred do this because you kind of believe he's going to die.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah.
Barbara's trying to crack the password to get into this CD.
Password 123.
And it's Peg. I kind of
explained it earlier, but like,
I didn't pay attention. Why was it Peg?
Just Alfred's into some weird shit.
So she's watching this video, and it's all Batman and Robin stuff. It's like schematics and designs.
How the Batmobile works, how the X-Wing thing works, how Batman takes his tea, everything in these files, everything for Wilfred. And she's like, this looks good.
Interesting. Robin sees the Robin symbol and realizes, Ivy's calling me out. And this is a great line. Batman goes, she's trying to kill you, Dick. Obviously his name's Dick Grayson, but in the context of the scene, he's like,
calling him a dick.
Dick, come on. Like, can't you see what she's doing?
I laugh so hard. I laugh.
Great line. Really good line.
She wants to kill you, Dick.
And Bruce tries to convince him not to go, and he's like, no, we're not a partnership, you're not my sidekick, we're a family.
Right.
And you're my brother, and as your older brother, will you trust me here?
Will you trust
Please
me?
Trust me.
Brother.
So we see Freeze in the observatory with all the diamonds as he's starting to freeze Gotham and carry out his plan.
So he's using that satellite thing to fucking freeze Gotham. Yeah, great stuff. He also says, it's not an ice pun, but he goes, don't let anyone tell you it's not the size of the gun that counts. As he's freezing.
I wanted this freeze gun as a kid. I thought it looked so cool.
There's a fascination on the characters here. The two scientists, I know the internet goes wild for, because the two scientists, like this lady and this guy, they're like a little older, and he goes, "Who is this nutball?" And the internet used to go off on this guy, because it's like, what? Why is this in this movie?
So he's kind of got these two scientists hostage because he's at the observatory.
Who's this nutball?
Yeah. Great line.
It's like, what?
Barbara's watching the video and Alfred comes on the screen and basically says, "Barbara, I know what you like. I knew you were going to watch this. So I've designed you your very own bat suit.
Hope you fit in it." I'm kidding.
And then we get more shots of her suiting up, gratuitous bum shots.
I mean, earlier we got bat nips, bat butts, and bat groin, bat crotch. Here we're getting more of it.
More of it.
Now it's Alicia Silverstone.
And pictures of Wallace and Gromit come into my head again.
Suit up.
Ivy tells Robin about Freeze's plan, but says, "First, I want a kiss." So
tell me the plans and I'll kiss you, Ivy.
Yeah. They kiss each other, and she goes, "Bad luck, I'm afraid. Time to die, little Robin." And Robin goes, "I hate to disappoint you," and pulls off like silicone protective lip.
He says,
things.
"Rubber lips are immune to your charms." Yeah, I've used that one before. Always use a rubber, like Robin here.
It is kind of like that. Batman's going,
wrap up.
You don't. She kisses people and they die, and he's like, "Well, but I want to kiss her, Bruce." It's like, all right, well, wear a rubber and you can.
Don't be silly. Wrap your willy.
You could just not kiss her, but no, that's too hard. Just wrap up. Wrap up, Robin.
We're not even going to mention the fact that Robin goes in and like looks at her lair as she's like lounging there, looking all like hot, and she's like, "Come over to me, like walk on this lily pads and stuff." And he's looking around and he's like, "Hey, I have a question. Is it your thumb the only part of you that's green?" It's like, what? Why? What? That's not a hot. I'm like, no, dude, stop.
To be fair, he grew up with his family
dead
as a circus act. He probably hasn't interacted with girls too much.
Yeah, I guess not. No.
And now he lives with a dude who thinks he's a bat and an old man. Like, I don't know.
Maybe.
I'll give him a pass.
Well, he tricks Ivy here.
He tricks her, but she's mad and gets all the plants, the vines, to wrap around him and kind of trap him.
Yeah, Batman.
Robin gets caught a lot in this film.
He's kind of dumb in this thing. He Chris O'Donnell says he did not like making this movie. He thought the last one he did, Batman Forever, was amazing.
A masterpiece.
No, because he's like, wow, I'm cast as Batman. It's an actual whole movie. He felt like this wasn't a movie. It was just going through motions to make this like shit movie. He said it wasn't as fun. Didn't feel like the same thing. And this is why he's always getting caught up here. Batman tries to make the save and gets caught too.
It's weird that Schumacher made. Like, the fact that he'd already done Forever, you'd have thought he'd have a bit more... Like, you could feel it going off the rails, surely. Right, yeah. Like, all these actors are saying it feels different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know what the discussions on set were like. Like, Joel, why are we doing this?
Yeah, why are we doing this? He, apparently, before every set of crazy scenes, he'd say, 3, 2, 1, and before action, remember, we're making a cartoon. Action. People have said that. That's what he said while filming. And it's like, that's not a good thing.
Yeah. So, Batgirl comes in for the save, does a load of very unnecessary cartwheels.
Kip-ups, kip-ups.
It's like, just punch her in the face.
It's like a Young Bucks match.
Yeah. They fight, and Batgirl kicks her into Audrey 2, who eats up Poison Ivy. It's like a Venus flytrap thing.
I like how, so here Ivy kind of reveals to them, like I told Lady Freeze when I pulled her plug. So we don't know this, but they're filming her somehow, some way. Batman's not able to because he's using his bat saw. That's a gadget.
A bat saw, yeah.
He uses a bat saw. It's like a little saw that he. It
looks like it should have been in John Moxley versus Brain Damage
in CZW.
Yeah,
he's using a bat saw to cut through the
vines.
Yeah.
I would love to review Little Shop of Horrors one day, just from this scene.
I'll do anything with Rick Moranis, hands down.
Oh, that's great.
I like the fact that she saves them. she saves Batman and Robin, and he's like, he knows who she is, obviously, but he's like, who are you supposed to be? And she's like, I'm Batgirl. And he's like, that's not really PC. What about Bat Person, Batwoman? We'll work on it.
Why is it not PC? What's un-PC about
Because girl, I guess girl, you could say girl, but I guess Batwoman, like...
Yeah, because I guess he's like, I'm not Batboy, but she is a girl here. She's still
young.
a kid.
She's still like late teens.
She's a teenager, yeah.
I guess, or well, more so not teenager, but like maybe like 20, because she's supposed to be uni, right? So yeah, I'd say maybe 18, 19, 20. So it's like,
but I'd also be like, straight white male, let the girl call herself whatever she wants, you know?
I guess he's trying to make the joke to the audience, like, hey, we're going to call her Batwoman, because, like, it's a woman.
The future one.
Yeah, like, she's a woman. But, yeah, I guess, I don't know. I was like, that's a swing and a
I was
miss.
trying to wonder, because the final shot of this film is the same as Forever. Forever has Batman and Robin running in the smoke. This is the three of them. Wonder... Was it going to be called, like, Batman, Robin, and Batwoman? Or was it going to be called Bat People?
It had a name. Was it, like, Unchained or some weird... Right. It had some weird name. It was called, like, Batman something. And it was supposed to have all of them. And
I prefer Bat People.
Bat People.
Bat People.
That's a different type of movie. That's a different kind of movie, it sounds like.
Yeah.
So now they're all together, the Bat Crew, the Bat People.
And are you ready for it?
What is it?
Let's kick some ice! Fuck yeah! So Freeze is still controlling this whole telescope satellite thing to freeze Gotham, and Freeze and Batman both get in their vehicles, and you've got Batman, Batgirl, and Robin all in their swanky new vehicles.
They're iced
out, trying to get to Freeze. They grapple hook the tower, the telescope, to make it up there
for no reason. They could have went the other way. Why did they grapple? There's no way a grapple hook works like that.
It's not very batty, is it?
No, this isn't realistic at all. I know, like, this is a ridiculous movie, but this is where I drew the line. I'm like, come on, look how high that is.
Oh yeah.
There's no way you would do it. Like grappling them jumping out of the thing. It's like you're not grappling that. Your grapple hook won't shoot that far.
So they make it up there. Batgirl and Robin take on Bane as Batman takes on Freeze. The satellites we now see are kind of turning and all targeting Gotham. Robin manages to pull the tubes out of Bane, which causes all the venom to flood out of him. And we see instantly Bane just shrinks back to his normal self. And
they just leave him there.
Yeah.
To die.
Batman pulls from his utility belt a bat thawing thing.
Like a laser.
And just... He used it earlier to kind of de-thaw Robin.
Yeah.
And he puts it on Freeze, because obviously Freeze can't operate at a normal temperature.
Right.
So he's trying to de-thaw Freeze. And they're fighting, and he punches Freeze off of this high platform, so he falls.
Because Freeze has already started freezing parts of the city. Like, people are frozen in the streets and stuff, like a dog peeing.
So now Batman is trying to use the satellites to thaw Gotham rather than to freeze it. But Freeze decides to detonate a load of bombs in the observatory, because just why not? So the whole observatory is starting to collapse.
Freeze in hell, Batman!
Freeze in hell, Batman! As the telescope starts to fall, Batman saves the two scientists who are there and grapple hooks the ice to save them. They then thaw the city. They've saved Gotham.
Oh.
And they tell Freeze, they're like, look, bro, we didn't try to kill your wife. That didn't happen.
This is where he just pulls out a phone all of a sudden in 1997. He's got an iPhone, bat phone, and it's like got a recording of Poison Ivy saying, yeah, I killed this guy.
I pulled the plug.
And he's like, ah.
But Batman says, look, we found her and she's still alive.
Wow.
And
good guy, Bruce.
We can still find a cure. Batman tells Freeze about Alfred, and he's like, look, you're going to have the chance, Victor, to save a man's life, save your wife's life, and save your life.
Yeah.
The real Victor Freeze is still buried beneath the snow. And you see Mr. Freeze is like warming up.
Literally.
It's like, yeah. He's like, okay, will you help me, Victor? So Mr. Freeze opens the arm door of his suit and pulls out these vials.
It's like blue Gatorade.
Yeah, and goes, give this. This'll help. This will help Alfred. Batman tells him, we're going to get your wife moved to Arkham so you can still continue your work while in prison, essentially.
Wild. What a great guy Batman is.
They give Alfred the blue vials, and he seems right as rain.
Yeah, he's fine.
He's ready for another movie.
He's like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
What's popping off? Barbara, you're Batwoman now? Oh, I had no idea.
We see Poison Ivy, who's in Arkham, and she's got a flower, and she's going, he loves me not, as she's plucking off the leaves and eating them.
Yeah, these petals and eating. Apparently they're good for you, but I wouldn't do that.
Like rose petals and stuff, yeah. The door opens to the cell, and we see just the glowing blue suit of Mr. Freeze. He goes, surprise! I'm your new cellmate, and I've come to make your life a living hell. Winter has come at last.
Fuck.
Yeah, so he's just going to probably murder.
He looks like
Poison
if
Ivy.
you had a blue Freezy and then you put like a flashlight underneath it.
They look cool.
Like antifreeze in the glowing. Yeah.
Alfred is fine. Robin asks why Batman didn't trust her. Sorry.
Batman's like, hey, we're all like a family now.
We're all a family now.
They ask, you didn't save us when me and Barbara fell off a thing.
Yes, that's right. And he's like, well, I trust you now.
Yeah.
I trusted you could save yourself.
And they did.
Barbara's gloating about beating up Poison Ivy. And they all say partners and put their hands in the middle. And Alfred goes, we're going to need a bigger cave. And the film ends and we see the three of them running in the white, dry ice as... I always laugh at this image.
The running?
Just running.
The logo behind them.
And that's Batman and Robin. Tonight's forecast, a freeze is coming.
Wow. What
a film.
What a great, fantastic movie. I'll just say it. I know what everybody's thinking. It's the greatest Batman movie ever made. Greatest movie ever made, possibly.
I did really enjoy this. I'm not going to lie. There are bad films that are painful to watch. I wouldn't say this is one of them. I think this is... You got to be in on the joke.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I can imagine at the time, if you're so excited for this new Batman film and this came out, yeah, you're going to be really disappointed. But we're like 24 years removed with this film now. We can laugh at it, and it's so bad. But I will say, watching it, there are stuff I liked. I did like the city. I thought Gotham looked great. The set design. I'm kind of a fan of the neon look, kind of steampunk vibe kind of thing it had going. I thought that was pretty cool. Alfred is great as always. I like that they try to make Mr. Freeze like you did feel for him. I think that's something we see a bit more in more current superhero films where you kind of understand why the villain is doing what they're doing. But the dialogue is awful. The acting is awful. The plot, like, I still don't quite understand.
He wants to freeze the world.
What Ivy's plan was. It's like, yeah, I know, but...
Veganism.
Yeah. But yeah, this is a fun film to watch.
It's great. Yeah, again. Last night I put it on and I was just smoking up and watching this, and it was fantastic because it's colorful and stuff. But it's laughable because it's such a bad movie. But I'd say it's like a pop culture. Again, the last one all the Batman movies we talked about are pop culture, like iconic movies, and this one, as bad as it is still technically one of them. Without this movie happening, Hollywood was taking a break, like took a step back to like reevaluate comic book like movies, and look where we are in 2021 with like everything's about superheroes and comic books come to life. This one was done so bad that everyone had to do the right thing and fix it.
You got to wonder if this film was somewhat successful, would the Dark Knight trilogy even happen?
Exactly.
Because I think Nolan is someone who, like, he puts a lot of thought into his scripts, him and his brother.
Yeah.
And David Goyer, is it? The other writer? But I think the fact that this did so badly, that you can go in and be like, right, we need to do something different. This is my idea. You need to change everything. Whereas if this was okay, a studio might go, no, I see what you're saying, but we're going to go this direction.
Yeah.
I think because this was such a fucking car wreck, you're going to take anything. And as far away from this as you can go, the better, and that's what Batman Begins really is.
You could compare it to kind of wrestling. Batman is kind of a more grittier character in the movie that they did with Jack Nicholson. I wouldn't necessarily say take your kids to see that one. Same with Batman Returns, maybe pushing towards more so kids, but still scary, more so for like older kids and adults, whereas this one is WWE's totally just for kids now, and that's what this feels like. This was made for kids. There's some innuendos and jokes that kids wouldn't get that we understood and we laughed at, but this is genuinely, like, everyone involved was told this is to make money on toys. And there's a line in this movie where Poison Ivy says, like, she smacks the button of Bane and he turns on his venom. She goes, every Poison Ivy action figure comes complete with the Bane figure. Right. And it's like, yeah, because they're just trying to sell the toys. And I'm sure they sold millions.
I mean, I would say it worked because I was exactly the age this film was targeting when it came out. And I was so excited for this film. I loved this film and I wanted all the toys. So from that point of view, they completely achieved what they wanted to achieve.
Yeah, you show this to a kid, they'll love this movie. You show Batman Begins to a kid, they'll be so bored.
Yeah.
They'll be like, what is this? I don't care about this. But a kid would absolutely love this. So again, I saw this in theaters and was raving about it when I was 6 because I was loving the colors and everything. And then again, fast forward years later, I've watched it when I was like, I don't know, maybe in high school again as a joke with friends, and I was like, oh, this doesn't hold up at all. I've never watched it since then, and watching it back, it's like, yeah, it's so terrible that it's funny. And you mentioned it had like some sort of online resurgence because it's ridiculous. It's so campy. It's just like the 1960s.
I think things like YouTube, I think, really kind of helped films like this. Yeah. Like got films that cult following, you know, when you can just clip a certain thing, right? And you watch it again, you go, "Oh yeah, I forgot about that."
I always randomly put on Arnie's puns on YouTube. There's a YouTube video where someone just clipped all the puns in the movie, and it's so funny. It's basically this whole movie is just puns from everyone. Yeah. It's not even just him; it's just everyone. But yeah, it's a ridiculous movie. I know why people hate just hate it and think it's terrible, and I know why people like me. I wouldn't say I hate it because it's just so fun to watch, but by no means is this a fantastic movie. I much prefer what comes later on in the Batman movies trilogy with Nolan because that's how I enjoy watching Batman. But this is still a fun movie to watch. If I ever have kids, definitely would show them this. They'd probably go apeshit with the colors and the chase scenes and the hockey fights and the Poison Ivies. Just everything is ridiculous in this movie. But great stoner flick, for sure. Yeah. Holds up in that regard. It would be a 10 out of 10 if it was just stoner flicks type movies, because this is it. George Clooney, Chris O'Donnell running around in masks. Just ridiculous. Cool.
Shall we get to our ratings now and then feedback?
Sure.
So we can kind of talk a little bit about each, maybe the topics we haven't quite hit on as much.
Yeah, let's do it.
We'll start with Bruce. If you're new to listening to us with our Batman reviews, each Batman film we've kind of broken down into the portrayal of Bruce, the portrayal of Batman, the main villain, the secondary villain, Alfred, the Batmobile, the Batsuit, and overall enjoyment of the film. And after all that, we're going to do a bit of maths and get a star rating. So let's start with Bruce. We've talked a fair bit about Clooney's portrayal.
I'd say that out of all my ratings, I've only given like really high ratings to two different things, and it's Bruce and it's Alfred. And I gave Bruce here. I mentioned that it's not quite the Bruce Wayne you mentioned, like the Playboy thing isn't quite there. But when it comes to the acting scenes with Bruce and Alfred, it's like, oh man, like George Clooney is definitely good at these like serious dramatic type things, and that's like the movies we mentioned that he's done, and ER is more serious and stuff. He's good at that acting, and I think they never really had shown that before. So it seems super high, but I'm telling you, it's the only high rating I have for this, and it's an 8 for Bruce.
I'm a lot further down.
Yeah, I understand. Don't worry.
I like George Clooney as an actor. I agree those scenes with Alfred are nice. It's not enough for me to make it a good Bruce. We don't see that Playboy side of him at all, which to me is such a big part of Bruce Wayne's character.
Definitely.
I also just don't... I need to believe that Bruce Wayne can be this badass when he's Batman. And I need to think, if I'm at work, say, like when I'm at the bar, and say a customer's kicking off, and Bruce Wayne is sat at the end of the bar, I trust that Bruce Wayne can stand up, and suddenly the guy that's kicking off goes, all right, I'll calm down a bit.
Right.
I don't get that from George Clooney. Okay. I don't get that.
He's not scary. He's not
I don't
action.
get that he can kick someone's ass.
That's true.
And to be fair, I've said the same about Kilmer and Keaton.
Yeah.
Bale, which we're going to get into, if Christian Bale stood up at the end of the bar when someone's kicking off, I think people would shut up and sit down and finish their drink. And I think that's a part of Bruce that I need as well. I'm giving him a 4 out of 10.
I told you, my only
But I agree with you. I think he's great in those more tender moments with Alfred.
Yeah, because then when it comes to being Batman, I gave him a 3.
Okay. I went 4 as well, and that was that was generous. I should fuck it. I'm changing.
Because look, I like how he's dealing with like being the Bruce Wayne, and also it's more older Bruce. This is like the 4th movie here. Yeah. He's older than what he was before, right? Like his life has gone on, and it has the salt and pepper. So I get that he's more gentle and soft and stuff. But when it comes to Batman, he's so lame. He's like cheese in a costume. The bat nips don't do him any favors, but he looks so lame standing in all the scenes. He doesn't fit this at all.
He doesn't have the jaw.
True, he does not.
Which is such a big thing with Batman. It's that cowl you need. Yeah. You need the strong jaw.
Right.
And it kind of does just look like George Clooney in fancy dress.
It does.
And I can't tell you one cool move Batman does in this.
He punched a guy through a drum.
Okay.
And went, good night.
So I'm with you. I went 3. Yeah. I think as actual Batman, again, not intimidating at all.
Yeah, no, I didn't like that. So main villain, though, would be Freeze, right?
Freeze.
Yeah, again, I've given my love for Arnie. I love Arnold Schwarzenegger, but this movie is so campy that like it doesn't make sense what he's doing. Everything's just. I went with a 3. Honestly, I wasn't like that's low. Honestly, I wish I could say 4, but I'm gonna stick with 3. Just what. It's so ridiculous. It reminds me of the 60s show where you couldn't take anything seriously that he was doing. Especially everything he says is literally a joke.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah.
I went with a 4. I actually really like the design of the suit.
He looks cool.
I think he looks really cool. And, I think still I look at that suit and I'm like,
looks cool.
I would want a figure of this Mr. Freeze. I would want this toy.
Yeah, I had it.
I think his gun's cool. I love that they're giving him a bit more of a serious reason for wanting to be evil, but then it doesn't marry up. As you said, he's always cracking jokes and puns. If he's doing this legit because of his wife and his condition, he's having so much fun doing all this, and it just seems completely disconnected. Whereas if he was just a lunatic who likes ice, sure, ice everywhere, woohoo!
All right, you take the same script from this exact movie and you gave it to Nolan.
Yeah.
And it'd be more serious.
Yeah, I mean, you can do something. He's doing this out of the love of his wife and the grief of losing his wife. I don't know if you'd be cutting 27 ice puns in the space of 2 hours.
No.
So I went 4.
Yeah, secondary villain. I'm not going to count Bane because he doesn't really count. No. You could say Ivy and Bane, but I'm going to say
Bane can be like Ivy's accessory.
Yeah,
really.
That's essentially what he is. I'm being super generous, but I love the aesthetic she holds in this movie. To me, from reading some of the interviews of all the people involved in this movie, she knew as well as everyone going into this, except Arnie maybe, that like this is going to tank, this is going to suck. It's probably going to make money, but it's a blockbuster type Hollywood ordeal, and I'm playing an iconic character. Why not be camp as fuck? So that's what she did. I gave it a 5, which is like down the road here, but I think her look is really iconic, and I like Uma Thurman in a lot of movies, and I know she's a good actor, and it shows in this. Again, it's not the actor's fault, it's literally the dialogue, and what she said. She had some of my favorite dialogue, so that's why I was like kind of generous.
I went 3.
Yeah, I know you don't like her.
I do like Uma Thurman. I think the look's great, and obviously she's hot as hell in this. But, this... In Forever, it felt like, well, Joker worked in Batman, so we're going to get the Riddler and Two-Face to play the Joker. That's what I felt. They're just laughing all the time for no reason. Here, it was... Catwoman was successful, so can you just play Catwoman?
Right.
Her mannerisms were very Catwoman. Her eyes looked like Michelle Pfeiffer, like the way she'd kind of squint her eyes a little bit and doing the kind of sultry looks. It was just Catwoman to me in a green costume. didn't understand her plan at all. Like, yeah, we all want to make the world a better place. I don't know, by destroying Earth just to grow some sunflowers.
She wanted to let the sun in.
I don't quite get it. So yeah, 3 from me.
Alfred is the second time I'm giving the highest thing here. I'm tying it with my Bruce just because I know I gave Alfred high marks in my last ones. I gotta keep it up considering he's almost dying in this movie, and rest in peace. But I gave Alfred an 8 as well, which is, again, just to give some points to this movie, to be honest.
I went for a 9.
Yeah, see? All right, yeah.
I think this might actually be Alfred's best showing, because he's
got better lines than the other one, but he's way better, and the character works way better.
I think the character is way more important in this one, and shows many different aspects of him. You've got him being the father figure to Bruce. You've got him being kind of the manipulator over the whole thing, the brains. Like, he knew Batgirl was going to happen, and he knew Bruce is going to need more to his team. So kind of bringing in his niece and all that. Just the acting, the looking out for Robin. I thought Alfred was great in this one, so I gave a 9.
Yeah, I was high on Alfred here, and again, I think he's a fantastic actor who played him, and he did all the commercials in the 90s for, like, Batman, Pepsi, and all that stuff, and I thought he was good. So Michael Gough, rest in peace, but great job. He's always Alfred to me. The Batmobile, you don't really see it.
I'd say all vehicles.
All vehicles? Okay, well then it still counts then. The only real vehicle is that car Poison Ivy has that's sexy. It's this red car that Bane's driving for like a shot or two. That's the hottest car in this. I went with a 3 for this as well. I remember having like the toy set with Mr. Freeze in his car and stuff. But yeah, like we said, it had the ice things like a robot or something. It didn't really quite make sense. But the Batmobile is kind of similar to the last movie, just like some updated paint jobs and maybe some gear and stuff. But there's some chase scenes, but it's not really a big factor in this movie. Robin wants to use the car, but he's using bikes most of the time too. I don't know.
I actually quite liked the vehicles in this. I remember as a kid wanting to get the toys. I think the Batmobile looks cool, and I like the vehicle, like Batgirl rides as well. There's quite a lot of vehicles in this, and I think they're kind of cheesy, but I think they're cool at the time. I would say they're not memorable. A lot of these earlier films, you tell me, the Batmobile from Batman and Robin. I've got to kind of try and think of what it actually is and look it up. But I did think they look cool, actually. I went for a 7. I quite like the vehicles in this film.
Again, I remember having them as a kid, and I know I had the Batmobile from the last movie, and it was just the same as this one. But they look cool, but there wasn't an improvement or a change, really, I'd say, I guess, in this one. Where we go to the suit. The suit / gadgets is what we kind of have here. The suit is kind of like the last movie, but it's updated for George Clooney. In the promo shots of this movie, you see Batman, Robin, and Batwoman with iced up gear because they know they're fighting the ice guy. So I guess you could say that's the thing. They use grapple hooks and it's kind of whatever, but he used a little saw, which I thought was impressive.
He had the saw, he had those thawing things, he had his back card.
Yeah, still not enough to really wow me, but it wasn't enough to make me go super negative on. So again, I went middle of the road with a 5.
Okay.
It was the saw that really helped push that up.
I feel we might get a bit of heat here because I know so many people hate the bat nips.
Right.
And sure, I find it a weird choice, the nipples on the suits, but I'm not as hung up about it as other people are.
It's gladiator type.
Yeah.
Gladiators used to do that, no?
I actually quite like the...
You like bat nips?
No, just the suits in general. I could do without the nips, but I like the kind of rubber abs it has. I think it looks... I think the suits look really cool in the silver, and Robin, when he's in his black suit later...
Did Robin have his earring?
No.
Robin should have had pierced bat nips.
But yeah, I quite like Robin's suit later because it kind of hints at Nightwing a bit, the black suit. I actually quite like the costumes in this one.
Chris O'Donnell said that they were going to do side movies with him as Nightwing and stuff. Did not happen.
No. So I went for a 6. And you do have more of the kind of 60s gadgets in this, which I do kind of enjoy. I think we lacked gadgets in some of the other films.
And then an overall enjoyment of the film, just overall movie out of 10, what would you rate this movie? I I went kind of low on it. The only reason I gave it points was because it made me laugh. And like I said, I was stoned, and I really thought it's a great stoner movie. I think maybe I'm being a little too low on it, but I gave it a 4 for an overall. It's such a shit movie.
We just recorded a couple of days ago our best death match ever.
Yeah.
And I was having the same dilemma when giving ratings.
Yeah.
It's like there's the kind of, you got to see this, and then there's,
you have to.
But is this a good match?
Yeah.
And I got to say, I wasn't bored watching this film.
No, you can't be.
So I enjoyed it, but also the critique in me, I'm like, this isn't a good film. So I gave it 4.
Yeah.
And that's purely out of enjoying how bad it is.
Exactly.
And the set, I think.
Sure, yeah. Like I said, like the aesthetic, and it's definitely like the I can't believe they did this kind of factor. I can't believe they actually tried to make the 1960s mixed with comic books come to life, no joke, with such ridiculous shit for kids. And yeah, watching it back, it's really fun, but it's no way a good movie.
No. So what we do is we have 8 categories, we add them together and divide by 2 to get our average. So my score is a 5 out of 10.
Mine was a just under 4.8. 4.8.
Okay.
So just around 5. You could round up if you want, but I split mine in half to give my half rating, and it's a 2.43.
2.43, and mine was a 2.5. So that gives us a combined star rating
out of 5.
Out of 5 for Batman and Robin. 2.46. We round up 2.5. I think people are going to think we're far too generous.
Yeah, I think so. I think I was too nice on Clooney.
Let's put this into context, right? We got Batman with
Michael Keaton.
Yeah, Batman I think got a 3.5.
Okay.
3.5. Batman Forever.
No, Batman Returns.
Oh, where's my Batman Returns?
Batman Returns was a little low as well, I think.
Batman Returns. Okay, here we go. Batman Returns was... I'm trying to find... All my notes are a mess here. 3.3.
Okay, still 3. Higher than this. What about Batman Forever?
Batman Forever got a 3.
Yeah.
So this is still... Okay. So this is still the lowest.
This is the lowest. We're still generous, though.
And this is probably... Actually, I don't know. I've not seen the Snyder ones yet.
Ooh,
yeah,
tough.
But
Tony,
I don't think we're going to get this low for a while.
No, I don't think so.
But 2.5, I was expecting lower. Still not a great rating to have, though.
I think these movies, like I mentioned, you put it on for your kids because they could like Batman Forever and Batman and Robin out of the Batman movies we've talked about. Like those would be good for kids. But when it comes to like adult stuff, you kind of would want to watch more so the Nolan stuff.
For sure,
definitely. Overall, like these ones have been really fun. But it's interesting that for years Batman was made like these past movies that we've talked about, and then it took this movie today that we talked about to change that
to make it go.
You know what? Maybe we make Batman a real guy and no more like hocus pocus mumbo jumbo. Let's try to make it serious. So I think they did a good job, and we gave it a fair rating. I'd say it's a fun movie to watch, but wow, is it shit?
I think so.
Yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes gave it 11%. On IMDb, it's 3.8.
Should we see what any people thought with some feedback?
Let's do it.
I know we posted a feedback thread, forum.postwrestling.com, and we also posted one on the Patreon. So I'm going to read the one from the Patreon here. I know someone has written in. It's our Wasnexpert. It's Chris Price, who writes, so we finally make it to what's considered one of the worst Batman movies in the series. Clooney doesn't make a good Batman, and the Batmobile was 29 feet long and looked poor compared to the others. And future, maybe he was overcompensating for something. The entire film gets a little far-fetched, but despite that, I've seen it a few times in the past. It's a fun watch or to have on in the background, but not one you will choose over other movies in the franchise. Arnie felt a little miscast as Freeze, and his vehicle was terrible. Did you know if it wasn't Arnie, it was going to go to Sylvester Stallone? And if it wasn't Stallone, it was Hulk Hogan.
Oh, really?
That was what Schumacher said.
So Arnie was like, no, just do it.
Because if those two always battled over the roles. Yeah. He continues, that being said, I thought Uma Thurman put in a great performance, and she may have gone as well as a solo performance in another film against Batman. Less than average film at best, and I look forward to hearing what you think. Thank you, Chris.
We go to the forum with Professor, who says, Davie, I think it is a bit unfair to say this is a fan favourite for all the wrong reasons. It puts undue qualifiers on how one enjoys the film. I mean, I wasn't marketing this. I didn't put that on a poster for the film in 97. But fair enough. I love this film, and I don't think any of the reasons are wrong. Okay. To me, Batman and Robin is a love letter to the Adam West Batman series. It feels like the classic series put through a 90s neon filter and turned to 11. Uma Thurman and Arnold are delightfully over the top and would fit right in next to Cesar Romero's Joker or Burgess Meredith's Penguin. Adam West totally would have had a Bat credit card in his utility belt. I like the Nolan films as much as the next person, but his reality-based approach is not the only valid way to make a Batman film. But I don't think we will see another fun Batman movie like this again. Everything has to be grim, dark, and super serious. That makes me sad. I want more Batman surfing down ice dinosaurs. I see what he's saying. I mean, we definitely picked up on the Adam West thing, but I just think the acting and dialogue is still terrible. Yeah, I think you can do. I mean, we've been watching WandaVision, right? And the detail, how when they're doing the sitcom style, they nail that sitcom style perfectly. And here, I don't think this is well acted at all. This film.
Someone in the forum here replied to Professor's post about that, saying no more fun Batman movies, and says, I beg to differ, because there's the Lego movie, which features a Lego Batman, the Batman Lego movie, and then like some of these animated Batman like fun cartoon stuff that they still continue to make animated movies and straight to streaming services or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I guess real life ones, but yeah. And I'll read the next one here from, is this Eric Marcotte? It is, isn't it? He says, this movie is utter dog shit in the best way possible. The costumes are terrible. The plot is nonsensical. How does Mr. Freeze's plan to freeze the world and Ivy's plant supremacy go together in the slightest? And the performances are, by large, horrendous. But man, this movie is hilarious. And that's not to say a single joke they make throughout the film lands, because they don't. It's just so bad. It's a fucking masterpiece. This is more entertaining than any of the previous 3 live-action Batman films, and despite being far and away from the worst of that bunch, it's also the best. 0 out of 10, but also 10 out of 10. Can't wait for Batman Begins, aka the best Batman movie.
I'm still in my mind debating my overall enjoyment of the film score, because I kind of agree with Eric. Yeah, I think I had more fun watching this than either Tim Burton ones or Forever. Yeah. I think I did enjoy this one more. Yeah,
I enjoyed this and Batman Forever more than the other 2.
Film critique in me where I'm going, I can't give it a good score.
Now I see in the forum that the 2 are going back and forth about being good movies and animated movies.
Yeah, whether animation counts, etc., etc. The Benjamin says, hilariously bad, but so hilariously bad that it killed superhero movies for almost a decade.
Yeah, it did. They had to take a step back. That's how bad it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the feedback you guys had for Batman and Robin. I know you guys have been waiting for this movie, and I hope you watched it back and enjoyed us listening to us talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
Just a great, great film.
It's going to be such a departure going to the Nolan.
We're going to get serious
now.
Yeah, we're going to get super serious. So the next time we talk about the Bats is going to be Batman Begins, Christopher Nolan, Christian Bale. Can't wait to talk about this. So we'll probably do that in a month or 2. It's going to be Mania season coming up, so we'll give it some time to breathe. Yeah. We need to take a break after this one. Yes. After Batman and Robin, we need to cool our jets.
They took 8 years, 9 years for a new one.
That's exactly right. So we need to take a step back and go forward. But I've super enjoyed this review as well as all the past Batman ones. But yeah, we'll take a different kind of turn with the more serious Christopher Nolan stuff. If you like listening to us talk about movies and stuff, patreon.com/upnext, only $5 North American tier, gets you access to everything in our back catalog, including tons of movie reviews, Gremlins, Terminator, all sorts of different ones. There's some James Bond reviews in there as well. All the wrestling stuff. We did a best match ever, PWG, best match ever, never open weight, all the best matches ever, including the free one we just did, best death match ever with Damian Abraham, already out on this feed last week. All the shows, though, we appreciate you supporting us and just listening to these ones as well. We hope you enjoy listening. Up Next every Wednesday, BD Elite every Thursday. So many podcasts, so little time. Yeah, everybody chill.
And what killed the dinosaurs?
The Ice
Age!
Thank you. Take care. Goodbye. Be safe. And remember, follow us at upNXT Podcast, Twitter and Instagram. And yeah, you already said my favorite Arnie pun, so I'll leave it at that. Thank you. Goodbye. Be safe.
Ahoy!